We're live, pal.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome back in to Learn the Ropes. I'm XLJ, the OG, and it feels oh so good to be with you here on a Sunday night. And it feels all the more better to have my partner in crime back with me, my brother from another mother, Mr. B. Rope.
Yes, my apologies, good sir. Last week, what can we say? Crap hit the fan.
Yeah,
And
it's all good in the hood.
crap almost hit the fan again right before we started. I may have not spilt a little drink before we were about to go on the air. But Jeremy, XLJ the OG, I wanted to show you this.
You got
You see it?
the St. Elmo's Colo.
Yeah.
So the St. Elmo's, for those of you who don't know, is an incredible, probably the best steakhouse in all of Indianapolis, and one of the best steakhouses in the world, I would say.
And their cocktails are pretty darn good too.
Yeah.
And
You
this
need
is,
something like this. Just
Ooh.
saying.
Ooh, yeah. I got one of those.
You do.
I do indeed. But how are you tonight, sir?
I'm doing a little bit better. Still kind of coming off of this damn respiratory thing, dude. I've had it for like over a week now. It's weird. Like you get to nighttime, it gets colder. You start kind of coughing your head off and stuff. I got some cough drops. I got my water. I'm good, brother. I'm good to go for these next couple hours. So, and what is up, Mr. Jaxbo? How are you, good sir? But yeah. So yeah, it's been an interesting week, to say the least. But we're so glad that you're all here with us tonight here on Learning the Ropes. And as always, when we start off Learning the Ropes, we like to kick it off with a little what? Little plug-a-palooza. So why don't you plug away, Mr. B-Roll?
All right. And I am going to try to do this as quickly as possible because we do have a lot to cover here, and we do have a very special guest coming on as well.
Yes, we do.
Got them waiting in the wings, so we don't want to have them wait too long. So first and foremost, if you have found us here, you have found us on the Panda Wrestling Company Twitch channel. We invite you to go ahead and make sure you drop a follow. That way you know when we're live, because we got you covered 7 days a week, baby. It's not just our ugly mugs that come on here. Tons of other content creators come on here. We got you covered 7 days a week. So there's a show for everybody. That's what we like to say. So there you go. And if you feel so inclined, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You want to know why?
Why?
Because you can actually do it for free.
What?
Yeah. If you have Amazon Prime, you literally can subscribe to the Panda Wrestling Company channel for free. And I mean, most of you should have Prime right about now because it's the holiday season.
It's the season.
That's right. So there you go. And not only that, we are sponsored by a Rootless Coffee. You know, It is the coffee that's guaranteed to put the mo back into your Joe because you know it is a
damn
fine cup of coffee. How are we tonight, Ron?
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking.
Did you miss me last week, Ron?
Yeah, where the hell were you? We're not talking about that, Ron.
Okay.
I'll just make a conversation. Oh, Ron.
He's a good friend. He likes to look out for me. And let's see. I'm already
Let's talk about Cole TV. And hey, we're coming back with some content this week. Like last week was just a hot mess with the illness and stuff. We had to cancel some of our shows. And we're also going to work on getting last week's Learning the Ropes back up. But that's another story for another time, folks. So if you want to know what happened there, just message Mr. B-Roll and I, and we'll fill you in. But anyways, this week on Learning the Ropes, Tuesday, we got our Survivor Series reaction show, which Survivor Series, as we all know, occurred last night. Check out Tuesday and see what my thoughts were on the show and whatnot. Wednesday, we got a brand new episode of our popular show, The Hunt. And it was a really cool show because it was Small Business Saturday this past weekend and went to check out some small businesses. So this particular one is actually about a place called Fix Antiques and Uniques, and it's a very unique place. You'll see this Wednesday on The Hunt. And Thursday, you'll see a replay of this show right here. And that's what we got cooking on Cole TV this week. Hey, Bree, how's it going?
That is
And
right.
Coop DePhil, how are you, good sir?
Oh, I just realized I'm doing a terrible job of putting the comments up. Oh my goodness. Slacking. But
Hey, also, too, one thing, we've kind of been slacking on this just simply for the fact, usually the way we have it formatted in our show, we tend to go past it, but we want to get back to doing this. We're going to try to start doing this at the beginning of the show. We want to highlight our Wrestle Talk content creator of the week. We got a good one this week, don't we, Mr. B-Roll?
Yes, we do. So our Wrestle Talk content creator of the week this week is going to be none other than Extreme League Wrestling. He does a phenomenal job putting out content, and I'm going to let you on a little secret, kiddos. He has a YouTube channel as well, and he does some pretty interesting stuff out over there. I've checked out some of his videos. They are pretty cool. Like there was one where like he had his, I think it was his mom, I think, and he was like having her try to like guess wrestler names or something.
Nice.
So yeah,
very nice.
Show some love to those other fellow Wrestle Talk creators and wrestling YouTubers as well. So
there you go. So Extreme League Wrestling is our Wrestle Talk content creator of the week. And of course, finally, we got to talk about the merch. And hey, stay tuned because here in about an hour, we're going to have a very special announcement on our merch that you're going to want to hear. It's pretty cool.
It is pretty groovy indeed. Yeah, I mean, you can get you one of these sweet LTR Living and Learning shirts, not based off of FTR at all.
No.
At all. Just kidding. It totally is because they are the greatest tag team walking this earth right now. I said it.
Okay.
I didn't say they were my favorite. I said they are the greatest.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay. But go get you some merch over at Sweet Dollface Creations. Like we were just talking about small business. You know, Small Business Saturday's not that far removed. So go ahead and get you some merch. You don't have to just get our merch. We have the We Are Wrestle Talk shirts going. We have Panda merch over there. We have Dad Hat merch. We have Self Bet. We have Wrestle Talk Wolfpack. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. So
there you go.
There you go.
And
you get all your Christmas shopping done in one place.
There you go. And Cyber Monday's tomorrow. So why don't you just head over to SweetDollfaceCreations.BigCartel and get you some of that sweet merch. That being said, I think it's time to bring in our very special guest. What do you say, Mr. B-Roll?
I think I am ready indeed, yo. But this guest, he's going to get an intro.
Oh, yeah.
Are you
Big
ready?
time.
I say you are listening to Wrestling with Savage, the best podcast in the history of podcasts.
Pedigree, 1, 2, 3, project you live as a champ. Our last ride straight to hell, a tombstone, a choke slam. Here to give it to you raw. This is Wrestling with Savage. SmackDown, hold the title. This is Wrestling with Savage. Why?
Because they are the best tag team in the world today. Woo!
George. George, I think George just tried his resume for Tony Khan. I don't know. Up for George.
We're Savage! But of course.
Pedigree, 1, 2, 3, project you live as a champ. Our last ride straight to hell, a tombstone, a choke slam. Here to give it to you raw. This is Wrestling with Savage. SmackDown, hold the title. This is Wrestling with Savage. What?
I'm trying to give these two W.
Hey.
And there we go, indeed.
What's up, guys? How you guys doing? Thank you for having me on the Panda Wrestling Company.
Hey, thanks for coming on, man. It is our pleasure to have you on with us.
Awesome, man. I heard you guys listen to Busted Open on the regular, correct?
This is correct. We both have called in and talked to Mr. LaGreca, and I know you do it on the frequent. I mean, at least several times a week.
I got them on the speed dial, but I'm pretty cool now with a lot of the people over there. I'm actually one of the admins on the official Busted Open Facebook group over on Facebook. So if you guys haven't joined that, feel free to apply. pretty tight knit community of just people that love the Busted Open show. They watch it every day. Shout out to the Nation's Corner, which is another podcast of great wrestling fans and also big fans of Busted Open. They do a great job of running a Discord in the morning. So if you're ever bored on a morning 9 a.m. and you're listening to Busted Open and you want to also have great interaction with real wrestling fans who love the show and love the content, head on over to the Nation's Corner Discord. They do a fantastic job. And of course, during all the shows, they have live chat. Kind of makes you feel like you're in an AOL chat room.
Nice. That's
Both
awesome.
cool.
I know you were well representing the Greca heads at Full Gear last weekend.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We had a stockpile of the Greca heads. We did a little giveaway where we were meeting fans outside of the arena before the show, cutting a couple of promos, and all they had to do was basically say on video that they love Busted Open. And if they did, I would find them later in the night and give them a LaGreca head signed by David LaGreca. So
There you go.
we
That's
managed to accomplish
Gotta
that.
do that LaGreca shit.
Yeah,
Gotta do it.
Absolutely, Greca shit. After Full Gear was over, I was close to actually just jumping in the ring and getting my friend to record a little Greca lean.
The Greca lean.
But I kind of wanted to go home instead of prison.
Yeah.
You know.
Probably a
You
good
know.
choice.
Yeah. So I was the guy that tried to get LaGreca on TikTok.
Okay.
That was me. So
How'd you try to get him? On there, like as a guest or?
so I created a bunch of graphics and kept tagging him on Twitter, and then I called into the show, and then actually XLJ the OG actually called him to the show as well, and he did create one. He just hasn't made any videos.
Nice. Yeah, I don't think he's really TikTok friendly. I know he does have one, but he barely uses it.
Yep.
Maybe now that he hurt himself, maybe have a little more activity on his cell phone. I don't know if you guys heard. He kind of hurt his foot over the weekend.
Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah, he went to New Orleans to spend actually it's his anniversary with his wife. They went to New Orleans to have a happy anniversary, and they went to a wedding that they were invited to from a member of the Busted Open Nation that was listening to the show for like 13 years. So that's how cool David LaGreca is. If you're like a fan and you invite him to your wedding, and he doesn't have like a show to host, he's probably gonna come.
That's awesome. We had the pleasure of meeting him earlier this year, actually, at All Out weekend. So, yeah, super great guy. We just started chanting LaGreca shit, and instantly he's like, come on over here. So.
Yeah. I mean, he's been a fan of my calls since I think the first phone call I made. I've been making calls to Busted Open. I started listening to the show this year.
Okay.
And I started listening to it specifically because my friend kept telling me about it for years. Oh, you got to listen to Busted Open, Bully Ray, this and that. And I'm like, dude, I don't have time. I don't. But then this year, I started doing the wrestling show with a couple of my friends. I said, why not actually listen to some other podcasts, get some ideas, and just see what their format's like. And then I ended up falling in love with the show.
Yeah.
Because, number one, it's better than anything that's playing on the fucking radio. I don't have to listen to the same Justin Bieber song 15 times on KTU or whatever the fuck I'm listening to. And it's professional wrestling from 9 to 12 with Bully Ray, Tommy Dreamer, Mark Henry, Thunder Rosa. So you're not just listening to people talk about wrestling. You're listening to wrestlers talk about wrestling. And it's a different thing when you listen to a wrestler talk about wrestling. I used to be a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
I was a wrestler for 4 years. I started training at the age of 13 at Northeast Wrestling here in New York. And it all happened because I was just walking home one day and I looked in some window in a warehouse and there's a fucking wrestling ring. And I looked up at the sky and I thanked God. That's how my training began. And I've been a fan of wrestling since I, probably three and a half years old. But I love wrestling. I love wrestling fans. And I have to say this before I let you guys take over your own show. Wrestling community is unlike any other. I've been a part of many different communities. Well, everybody has their own little thing, but something special about wrestling. Actually, talk about it all day and night.
Yeah, I mean I'm glad you got into the fact that you said you did wrestle for 4 years, because that was something that I definitely wanted to bring up. But you are exactly correct, though. The wrestling community is unlike any other. I've only been a fan for just over a year, but it's I can't describe the feeling when I went to that first show. It was just like I felt welcomed and like by like everyone. Um, and that's not like that's not normal. And
Like going to a concert or
yeah,
going to like a play or whatever, seeing a movie, whatever. Yeah, it's and remember when we went into it, I told you like the community, it's like insane. It's awesome. It's just such a good. You're with family, and I mean, you fell in love with it instantly when we went to that Dynamite.
yeah, you were like, yeah, I was hoping you would, but I think I exceeded your expectations with how much I
Yeah.
ended up falling in love with it, and now here we are. So, Savage, do you have maybe before we get too deep into it, just one like just interesting story from your time as a wrestler?
Yeah, sure. Probably the most interesting day in my little career, and it was a short career because number one, they never gave me a license because I wasn't 18, and I used to get paid either $5 to $10 for whatever it was, whether it was a match, a run-in, taking a chair shot. One particular day, Jimmy Snuka was on the dock, and he was in the main event, and I was supposed to come in and try to hit him in the back with a chair. He's going to grab the chair, he's going to hit me, throw me out of the ring, and then go on to win the match. I was like not even a manager, just more of like an associate of one of the teams over there. And this was all independent guys. Jimmy Snuka was the only superstar on the card. They paid him about $500 to do this show. And after the show, he took all the boys out to the local pub and pretty much spent his entire $500 on the boys to have a good time, to have everybody have shots, get drunk, and just being in the ring with Jimmy Snuka, even if it wasn't a long time, that to me was like the moment in my mind where I was like, I made it. Yeah, this is great. Like, you know what I mean? I couldn't even believe it. It was like a surreal kind of feeling being in a ring with a legend. I've also been in the ring with Devon Dudley once, but it wasn't for a match. He was just warming up. He came from the school. He had a show, I think at MSG that weekend. He was in New York, came by the school, took a couple of bumps. He's all business. Fully raised more, kind of like back, kind of chill with him, have a conversation. Devon getting in the ring, taking bumps, getting broke, doing his push-ups, getting some weight, and then he's done. But yeah, I mean that's probably the highlight of my little wrestling career at that moment. I've had some matches. I've had about 50 matches. All my matches were like 5 minutes or less. Nothing crazy. My finishing move would be a very aggressive running power bomb that I would lead into with multiple chops, the ropes, super clothesline, and the guy pops back up, and I pick him up in one corner. I turn around and I run to the other corner. Before I get to the corner, power bomb time, and usually they wouldn't kick out. I was kicked out.
Well, there you go. And I don't care if you wrestled one time, 50 times. Anyone that stepped in there, I got mad respect for. It's definitely
Had
something.
2 concussions in 4 years. If that shit makes it real to you, I mean,
It's still real to me. No,
it is.
seriously,
Still
yeah, it
real to
really
me.
is.
I mean, just to give you an example of my not my first day of training, but like maybe after 3 weeks of going to school, I was really like I wanted to start doing more advanced moves than the trainer would allow. Like I wanted to start doing suplexes, this, that. He said before you can do any of that, I need to know that you can take a chop. So he puts me in the corner, and he goes to hit me. And I didn't really know. I wasn't trained yet, so I kept putting my hands up. He's like, "Stop putting your hands up, pussy." I was like, "All right." He chopped me that first day over 200 times, and I never put my hands up ever again, ever. It was a rough training. It's not easy. I give credit, like you said, to anybody that steps in the ring. Because honestly, you know what hurts more than anything? Just hitting the fucking ropes. To be
Yep.
honest. Oh my. You get used to it. Though. But you
Pain
probably
is
like
pleasure.
dude, the people that really love this shit, like it really is. It's pleasure to them. It was pleasure to me. I mean, after wrestling for about 6 months, I got to the point where I could take a back bump on cement and not.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Because your back
Yeah.
just gets so tuned in, taking those bumps, bump, 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 bump. When you first start training, when you're a serious trainer, you're probably training 2 to 3 days a week, and you're taking easily 200 to 300 bumps per day. They have in the rest of the school. They have different bumps. Level 1 bump is when your feet never leave the floor. and your back hits the ring. That's a level 1 bump. When you just fall back, your feet do not leave the floor. Level 2 bump, 1 foot leaves the floor, and then your back hits the mat, and then your other leg pops up. Level 3 bump, both feet in the air, bump. Anything past that is like level 4, level 5. Like off the top rope to the ring, 4. Off the top rope to the outside, 5. And then you can call the cagey one whatever you want. That's probably like a level. What we saw Becky do last night was probably like a level fucking 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes some balls there, and the man's got plenty of those.
Yes.
Just saying.
Good showing.
So, yeah, and we're going to get into Survivor Series too, and that's actually what we're talking about here. So we're going to do our second part of our Survivor Series rundown. So if you joined us there a couple weeks ago, we got all the way up through the Attitude Era, so pretty much 2001. So we're going to pick up right where we left off, and we're going to start off with, honestly, this Survivor Series. Outside of like I've said before, I really enjoyed the concept of the team elimination aspect of it. This Survivor Series is probably my favorite Survivor Series. Survivor Series 2002. I understand you have an interesting story about this, don't you, Savage?
Yes, this happened in New York City on November 17th, 2002. Survivor Series taking place at the most famous arena in the world, Madison Square Garden. And it had a pretty significant main event that is still in play to this day in the WWE Universe. The first ever Elimination Chamber. Nobody knew what to expect going into this pay-per-view. The first time we're seeing this structure, hearing about this structure, and you also have the return of Shawn Michaels as far as like championship matches. I believe he returned prior to this at SummerSlam. He had a street fight with Triple H that actually was fucking phenomenal. Great match. Yeah. Shawn Michaels came out in like street clothes. You know, it was legitimately as much of a street fight as you can make it without the street. Okay, it was great. And then this led up to him getting, I believe, the shot part of the Elimination Chamber. So we had Triple H, Booker T, Chris Jericho, Kane, Rob Van Dam, Shawn Michaels, all competing for the World Heavyweight Championship of the world. And at that time, that was the WCW title. So pretty spectacular title. I was rooting for Rob Van Dam. This was the first pay-per-view I went to. So I was there live. This is coming off ECW's insane run that they had before Vince pretty much took control of everything and, rang all the ECW guys over. The only one who really thrived out of ECW as far as WWE Championship gold goes was Rob Van Dam. And I'm talking about World Championship gold, not tag team championship. Obviously, we know what the W is. But I wanted Rob Van Dam to win this match. The crowd, though, in that arena that night, I was shocked. I mean, normally I'm a Triple H guy. He's my favorite. I'll say it right now so you guys know Triple H is my personal favorite wrestler of all time. Hands down, especially now after all these years of body of work. But that night I wanted Rob Van Dam to win, man. And it didn't happen. It was the Heartbreak Kid, and he broke my fucking heart, man, live at MSG in what was actual phenomenal match. And started off a whole new generation of matches to come and follow.
And I will say this, I still think to this day, and I think a lot of people would agree with this, the first Elimination Chamber is the best one by far. I still haven't seen one that's better than it.
I agree with that. I agree, because it was just, you had that hype and that mystery. You didn't know what was going to happen or how it was going to go. And the build-up, I think, was phenomenal. And then, of course, the ending. Everybody, I appreciate Shawn Michaels winning more today than I did when it happened live. Because when you really think about that comeback he made, it was a pretty significant moment. I mean, he went through a lot. He was injured. He was hurt. We thought this guy was never coming back again. You know what I mean? Just like we used to think Edge was.
I mean, 5 years off.
Right now we're thinking Randy Orton might not even come back.
Yeah, which hopefully...
Shout out to Randy. I hope he gets better. And, all the guys out there that are Big E. And I met Big E once at the airport. I gave him a ride to the airport. He's a taxi driver. Phenomenal human being.
He seems like such a good dude, man.
Dangerous sport. But yes, Shawn Michaels, man. Heartbreak Kid. And now looking back at it, I know why there was fans there that were like crying. They were so ecstatic that he is the world champion after all these years off. So a lot of respect to HBK.
Let me ask you this: when you stepped foot in the Garden and you looked up and you saw that Elimination Chamber, what was like the first thing going through your mind? Like,
holy shit! Because it looks like a steel cage on steroids. Steel cage just has 4 walls. This thing has walls, it has corners, it has edges. There's heavy. It looks like heavy steel chain. Heavy steel beams.
10 tons of steel.
You have all this little cages inside where they hold all the competitors. At that time, I was a kid. I can tell you exactly how old I was. I think it was like 20 years ago. So yeah, I was 18 years old. God, I mean, I was still a kid, 18 years old, looking at this thing, first time ever. It was, I would think, very, very innovative. I was kind of shocked.
Yeah.
I was thinking Hell in a Cell, to be honest with you. I was thinking that.
Yeah, because they were coming off that the month prior at the No Mercy show, they had that brutal Hell in a Cell between The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar. So the whole concept was Bischoff was like, okay, I got to one-up this and come up with this most brutal concept of a match, and thus the Elimination Chamber was born. So,
I'll give them credit. That was a great idea.
Yeah, it was an
and
awesome.
They turned it into a whole fucking pay-per-view. So, I mean, it can't be that bad.
No. And the rest of this card's really good, too. I think there's a total of 6 matches, but, I mean, it's loaded. Like, I love the WWE title match between the Big Show and Brock Lesnar. I always liked when Brock Lesnar and Big Show worked together. Just seeing Brock Lesnar throw him around like a child is just amazing still to me to this day.
It's a good thing he didn't break the ring that night, though.
Yeah, no kidding, right? I think.
And to see here, Victoria also defeated Trish Stratus. Billy Kidman defeated Jamie Noble, and even the Dudley Boys. They went on.
Reunited.
3-minute warning. I think something happened with Rosie and Jamal.
Yeah, it was it was 3-minute warning with Rico going up against Spike Dudley, Bubba Ray Dudley, and Jeff Hardy. But like you say, Devon came out at the end, and the Dudleys were reunited again. So, and thank God that killed the Reverend Devon gimmick.
What an opening match, though! I would love to. I would pay money to see that today. Lance Storm and William Regal defeat Goldust and Hurricane Helm. Wow. I'm a big Lance Storm guy.
Yeah. And then also, there's a really good hidden gem on this show, I would say. The triple threat match for the SmackDown Tag Team titles with Edge and Rey Mysterio against Los Guerreros and Chris Benoit and Kurt Angle. Dude, that match was freaking amazing. Outside of the Elimination Chamber, that's probably like the best match on the card, I would say.
Is that first tag team run as champs? Guerrero and...
yeah, Eddie and Chavo in WWE.
What a way.
Yeah.
What a way to go over. You're beating Edge and Rey Mysterio and Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit. That's pretty good way to become champs.
Hell yeah, it is. But yeah, I think Survivor Series 02 for me, I think it's probably my favorite Survivor Series of all time. It was a damn good show.
It's up there for me because I was there, man.
Yeah, and that Garden crowd was hot too. I mean, it's always good to see a show in the Garden. I mean, you can't go wrong.
Oh no, one day I'll tell you about the story where I got kicked out of Madison Square Garden. Triple H was making his return live. Remember that night?
Oh, that on Raw, right?
Yeah, where he's wearing that jean jacket and going fucking crazy. Yeah. It's a long story. I can't get into it now, but
we'll have to have you back on, and I definitely want to hear that story.
Good story.
So we fast forward a year to Survivor Series 03, and this one's not a bad one either. So the main event sucked ass, I will say. Goldberg against Triple H for the world title. It's like, But the undercard's really good. You got a really good Survivor Series elimination match with Team Stone Cold against Team Eric Bischoff, where Randy Orton ended up being the sole survivor for Bischoff's team. And the storytelling on that match was really good too, I thought. There's a good opener with Brock Lesnar's team going up against Kurt Angle's team. Also, you saw Kane against Shane McMahon in an ambulance match, as well as The Undertaker against Vince McMahon in a Buried Alive match. And, of course, this would kick off the storyline with Undertaker and Kane, pretty much, where, Kane, Biker Taker goes away, and we get the return of the Undertaker that we all know and love at WrestleMania 20.
That's crazy. Both McMahon just performing on this card.
Against the Brothers of Destruction.
Should have been a tag match.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, and that's another thing, too. I always like Shane and Kane matches. I always thought they had pretty good chemistry. I enjoyed when they worked together during this time and frame when they were feuding with each other.
During that time frame, Shane was undeniable. The bumps he would take and the risks he would take. And just make everything look like it hurt. It was good. It was all good shit.
Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I also I felt like, now I say this back in the day, because Chris Benoit made Brock Lesnar tap out and eliminated him in the Survivor Series elimination match to kick off the show. And I thought this was kind of like the start of where they were finally going to start pushing Benoit. I mean, say what you will about all the shit that happened in real life and stuff, but still, it was cool to see that at the time. To see like Chris Benoit finally to start getting like the credit that he deserved at the time. So.
Well, we all knew he was going to be a world champion. It was a matter of
Yeah.
time. Intensity in the ring is undeniable to this day. I don't care what anybody wants to say what happened outside the ring, inside the ring. The man had intensity as good as anybody that you're ever going to see in a wrestling ring, if not better.
Yeah.
Fortunately, that's just the way it is.
Totally agree, my friend. Now, we go a year later, 2004. Ah, fuck. Do we have to? This Survivor Series, this Survivor Series is probably, in my opinion, we're going to get to the worst one, but I think this is up there. This was a shit show of a Survivor Series. So, pretty much your main event was Team Orton against Team Triple H. And, like, the teams, it was just like, let's just pair people together. So, Triple H's team was Triple H and Batista. That makes sense. Edge and Gene Sitski. What the fuck? Okay. Pretty much your top heels at the time on Raw. And they're going against Randy Orton, Chris Jericho, Chris Benoit, and fucking Maven. Maven?
Tough enough, baby.
What the fuck is Maven doing in a main event? It's like, really? Like, can we not get anybody else on the Raw roster? It's like, shit, man.
You could see right here, this is the year WWE, specifically one of the years that they were lacking star power.
No kidding, dude.
No roster.
Like, you had a WWE title match with JBL and Booker T. You had another Survivor Series elimination match where you had Team Angle against Team Guerrero. And, yeah, I think that's all that really needs to be said about it. Although I will say one thing. There is a good Intercontinental title match on this card between Christian challenging Shelton Benjamin. There was that. But outside of that, yeah, outside of that, it's like, nah, no bueno. Now,
that's not one I would want to go back and watch. I'll say that.
No. And I actually put myself and suffered through to watch it, like building up to this.
Oh God, no.
And I was like, that's where I cut off. I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm not going through and why, because some of these, like I say, in the latter part of the year, Survivor Series really kind of become a throwaway show, really, I think. And it's a shame, too, because it's the second longest running WWE pay-per-view of all time. But I do think they are going to start turning around the corner. I think we started with that last night. We're going to get into last night here in a little bit. But let's talk about 2005 Survivor Series. This one's slightly better. Now, this was the first Survivor Series where they introduced the Raw versus SmackDown concept. And back in the day, they'd actually, like, with the storytelling and stuff, like, they actually, like, did set it up. It wasn't just like, okay, we're going to put these guys from SmackDown against these guys on Raw, even though they was drafted to the fucking SmackDown or Raw roster a month prior, you know? So this one, it actually kind of made sense. So you had Team SmackDown was Batista, Bobby Lashley, JBL, Randy Orton, and Rey Mysterio, and they were going up against Team Raw, which was led by Shawn Michaels, Kane, The Big Show, Carlito, and the Masterpiece, Chris Masters, back when he was getting his push. Not a bad match, like I say. The build up for it was pretty decent, like with Raw and fading SmackDown and vice versa. You also had a WWE title match on this show between John Cena and Kurt Angle. To me, the best one of the best matches on the night was Triple H and Ric Flair in a Last Man Standing match. It's really good.
That made up for the whole card, but the fact that you had to watch Theodore Long take on Eric Bischoff made this almost unwatchable.
I wasn't even going to go there, brother. But
I had to bring it up because if you're going to talk about the good, we got to mention the ugly.
Yeah.
This wasn't bad. It was ugly.
that was bowling shoe ugly. There's another one on here though that's pretty good. The opening match was Booker T and Chris Benoit, and they were starting a best of 7 series like they did in WCW, which I think the one they did in WWE wasn't quite as good as the one in WCW, but it was still a pretty decent best of 7 series nonetheless. But that was pretty much Survivor Series 05. Now we get into 06, which comes to you from Philadelphia, good wrestling town. This one's not a bad one. The main event's kind of so-so. It's Batista against King Booker for the world title, and it's like if this is like Batista's last chance. If he can't win this match, he doesn't get a rematch against King Booker. So of course Batista goes over. I liked on this, they had a first blood match between The Undertaker and Mr. Kennedy.
Kennedy.
Kennedy, who has been on the Panda Wrestling Company and done an interview.
He did a shoot.
Go
Yeah.
check it out.
Yeah, that's right. Check it out now.
I don't know
But
who
the-
he pissed off. He pissed somebody off in WWE. I know that.
Yeah, it's just a shame too, man. You could do a whole show talking about like that. Like, such a great wrestler, such a great on the mic too. And I mean, this is right at the time too when he was really getting a good push. I mean, the fact that he went over on
He had
the
the
Undertaker.
heat, man. He had the heat. The second that mic would drop, that crowd was fucking pissed.
Yep. Yeah, I feel like after he lost that Money in the Bank, it just all was downhill from there for him.
But
Unfortunately.
let me tell you right now, if I could like jerry rig it to like where I could have a mic drop down, I would totally do that for this show, like every single week.
Could probably do that. Can't do that.
That'd be pretty awesome.
I'd
I'd
hit
buy
yourself
that
in the
for a
head with
dollar.
it. Those mics can't
Yeah.
get heavy. It'd be great if you were going live and then the mic electrocutes him while it's coming down.
There was also some good Survivor Series elimination matchups on this, and what was interesting about this, it combined Raw, SmackDown, and ECW wrestlers on teams. So, like for example, you had Team Cena, which was John Cena, Bobby Lashley, Kane, Rob Van Dam, and Sabu.
Hell of a team.
Yeah, and they went up against the Big Show's team, which was Big Show, Finlay, MVP, Test, and Umaga. Oh,
Yeah, that's definitely like a trash bag team. There's no way they're beating.
Yeah.
On
Yeah.
paper.
And then it's also had the Team DX against Team Rated RKO Survivor Series elimination match. And I just remember this, like where it started off, and it's like I think like Shawn Michaels super kicks Mike Knox, who's on Team RKO, and like he's like, "Who is that? Who is that?" And it's just like, oh, they buried the shit out of him right then and there. And I also remember too with that Philly crowd, they were super into CM Punk. Like they were cheering for him hardcore. It was like taking over like a DX and stuff. And like I think even Hunter kind of gave him a little bit of a rub in this match as well.
If you notice, CM Punk was never on the poster of a Survivor Series event, though. Not one.
Really? I'll be damned.
Yeah.
And
So
that's
I'm
kind of
like,
shocking.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm sitting here and I'm like looking at like images and like looking at match cards, and then I see this picture of Triple H with his arm around CM Punk, and I'm like, whoa, that's a rare photo.
Yeah.
But I'm also seeing, tell me about this Team WWE Legends versus the Spirit Squad.
That's just a gimmick
do
match.
we
That was
have to?
unnecessary, in my opinion. A waste of a slot, and this just shows you another situation of them wasting a time slot on a major pay-per-view that could be used to enhance talent, create legends, create stories. Instead, we're going to take 4 legends, and no offense to Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, Ron Simmons, or Sergeant Slaughter, but you taking on the Spirit Squad, really? What is that going to do for your career at this point in time in 2000, whatever the fuck? What is
not
this,
a fucking thing.
in 2006, what is this win going to do for any of your careers? You're going to charge an extra $5 at the meet and greets? Come on, unnecessary.
I would love to get Ron's opinion if he is available at this
He'd be
time.
very upset at me right
No comment. Damn.
now. Cody's got a comment. I got Cody.
Yeah, that was just that was
His name's not even Ultimate Warrior on the package. I don't know what it says. Ulta. What is it? What's his real name on the package?
Like Ulta Warrior or something like that.
The Ulta Warrior.
that's like the garbage pail kid.
Yeah, it's a true
W-
story. I marked out when I saw those because I didn't even know they existed. So
I
was
saw
like,
them, but I was like,
these are
I
so
can't
cool.
start another series of toys and collection. I have enough shit.
There's only 4 right now.
You know, part of my job is defending my stuff from my wife. She likes to come in here and punch my figures. She doesn't like them at all. I have to be very careful.
Nice. So
Won't
We
kick
go-
out of her.
so we go a year later here to the 2007 Survivor Series, and this one, okay, so the main event, that's all right. You got a Hell in a Cell match between Batista and The Undertaker for the world title. Not bad. Then you have Randy Orton against Shawn Michaels for the WWE title. Oh, well, let's talk about what may be the worst match in Survivor Series history. The Great Khali against Hornswoggle. What the actual fuck? Like,
Another unneeded gimmick match.
yeah, it's terrible, terrible storyline. The whole Hornswoggle's your illegitimate son, Mr. McMahon, and just ugh.
This
Yeah,
was all bad TV.
Yeah, this was just
This
an
was a
error.
bad year for WWE
Yeah.
as far as storytelling goes. It wasn't just Survivor Series. It was
Yeah.
a bad stretch of storytelling. You had a lot of creative writers that they were hiring right out of college, never even watched the product, have no idea who these people are, what their backgrounds are, and they're writing stories for people who have characters and gimmicks already. But now we're gonna rewrite all these different stories for people, and just it's like watching somebody throw darts at a board. That's what you're doing today. That's what you're doing today.
Yeah. Yeah, this was just a shit show. This is another one. I don't put it up there as with the worst because I do think the Batista and Undertaker match was pretty good, but man, if you didn't have that in HBK against Orton, this is god awful.
Well, the last two matches definitely saved the card, but at least CM Punk opened up, defeating John Morrison.
In the Miz, and not a bad match for the ECW title, or I'm sorry, the WECW title.
Is that what they really called it? Wasn't it just the ECW title?
That's what I call it. I couldn't bring myself.
Well, we all know ECW was poorly handled after the transfer, and they tried to relaunch the whole new version of ECW. I knew it was doomed to fail from the moment I saw it because I was like, "Oh God, this is the most watered down version of ECW you're ever going to see," and it's pathetic.
Fuck, when you're starting off the very first show on the Sci-Fi Network and you have a wrestler come out called the Zombie, the shit's not going to be good.
I really feel bad for anybody who got the letter in the mail saying, "You're going to be on ECW." Like, that was not, good news. There was people that were devastated.
No.
Yeah.
No. It's just... Yeah, it at this time, this era in the WWE, it just wasn't good, man. It was not good.
I don't know exactly what year it was, but I'm not going to lie to you. I had to take a break from the WWE. I believe it was post CM Punk. Once the whole CM Punk thing went to shit, and you took his ball and went home, whatever you want to say about that, I needed a break because I was Cena out. I was Randy Orton out. There was a lot of guys not wrestling anymore.
I'm right there. So yeah, that was 2007. Right after that, I tell you what did me in the Extreme, the ECW December Dismember. After that, I was done. That Extreme Rules Elimination Chamber match, and I stopped watching for several years. Like I would kind of check it out every now and then, see what was going on, but I was not watching it like weekly. At this point, I was like, I'm done. Like I can't watch this shit.
I can't even remember what it was. I just remember I was snoring during a Raw. I'm done. I'd rather be playing video games right now. This is just bad.
I figured it was the Punjabi prison match for you, buddy.
Oh God. So yeah, funny story. You got to witness the first Elimination Chamber in person. I got to witness the first Punjabi prison match in person. And let me tell you, that was a shit show.
You probably couldn't even fucking see anything.
No, it was it was a clusterfuck to see. It was just like what?
Just looking at wood for fucking 3 hours.
Yeah, it's funny because my friend and I, when we were going into it, we're like, I swear to God, if this is a fucking bamboo cage, I'm gonna lose my shit. And then, right when we get up, we look up at Conseco Fieldhouse. We're like, "Yep, it's fucking bamboo or imitation bamboo. This is." Yep. Oh well, you live and learn. Thank God, there's only been 3 of them. I think in history. Well, that's true. We did, tickets were a lot cheaper back then, and we did get to see King Booker win the world title from Rey Mysterio. So there was that. But yeah. But let's talk about Survivor Series 08. So this is another one that's pretty forgettable. You did have John Cena returning from injury, going up against Chris Jericho for the World Heavyweight title. It was in Boston, of course. So you did have Triple H going up against Vladimir Kozlov, and what was supposed to be Jeff Hardy in a triple threat, but Jeff Hardy had been injured, and then out of the blue, a returning Edge came in, and the Ultimate Opportunist would win the WWE Championship in this triple threat match, which is kind of like, You did have a Survivor Series matchup with Team Orton against Team Batista. You had The Undertaker against The Big Show. Team HBK against Team JBL. I don't know. This is a very forgettable
Cody
card.
Rhodes has a win over CM Punk.
Oh yeah, because he was the wasn't he like the survivor? It was Kim and Orton were the two survivors for this matchup, I believe. Yeah, but I don't know. To me, this is a very forgettable one. I'm not gonna say it's terrible, but it's just like I don't know. It's just like I barely even think about this Survivor Series. If that tells you anything.
Not much to think about.
No, there really isn't.
Brian Kendrick opened the show, so you know where they are with. And no offense against Brian Kendrick, he's fucking awesome, but you're not a WWE fucking legend. So.
It's interestingly enough, and I'm sure you heard this. Kendrick was working as an agent
trainer,
last
right?
night.
No, he's a
he's
super
working. No, he's working as a. He actually put together the match with Shotzi and Ronda last night.
Yeah.
He's actually
Oh, wow.
was back. Yeah, he was backstage working as an agent. So
I wouldn't want to take credit for that.
no shit, right? And we're gonna get into that here a little bit more in detail. But yeah,
Yeah, as a wrestler, when I watch a match, it might be a little different than the way you watch a match. Because you're watching a match as a fan, and you're taking in the content you see, and maybe with a grain of salt. When I am watching the match, I am watching how they're moving, how they're landing, how they're rolling. Are they tucking in their chin? Did the guy hold on too long? Did he not hit hard enough? Did he open his fist too much? I'm looking for all the mistakes and the fuck ups. And the reason I do that is because that's what this business is about. It's about execution. So I'm always looking for the execution of every move and how good they're doing it. I really love guys that do their job great, like guys like Randy Orton. I can't even tell you how many times I've watched the Randy Orton match. You have to try real hard to find a fucking mistake from Randy Orton.
Yeah.
And that's what I look for. I look for the guys that aren't making the mistakes and maybe aren't getting the credit that they should. There's a lot of guys on Raw right now who have no mistakes in their work and they don't get the credit they deserve. And I'll give you one example. Gable from Alpha.
I was going to say check from Gable, man.
Pound for
Oh my
pound, maybe the best wrestler they have on the roster as far as wrestling.
And the boy can cut a promo too. I mean, my God. Yeah. Such a wasted talent in my opinion. He's so damn good.
It's like Vladimir Kozlov. How talented was he when he first came up? He had a good look. I would call him the original Rusev, right? They had him built like a powerhouse. Came out shitting on everybody, getting wins. What happened? No one's booing or cheering him. So now we're gonna put him in a comedy routine.
Yeah. Which I will say this: when they put him with Santino, it was pretty entertaining. But still, like a shell of what his character was supposed to be originally.
But long term, those kind of storylines are going to do more damage to your career than good. As far as people looking at you as like a badass, when you think about 80s wrestling and 90s wrestling, you're thinking about people who were badass and they were ass kickers. You weren't thinking about them playing with some guy's sock on his hand.
You're certainly not thinking about guys like Mantar and Bastion Booger. No disrespect to them. Yeah.
Or Brooklyn Brawler, and no disrespect to Brooklyn Brawler, one of the hardest workers in the history of the business, has put over people that you put on socks your whole life.
Yeah. Yeah, the Brawler, man. God, you can't say enough about that guy and what he's did.
I love Stephen Martin.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. So now we're getting into Survivor Series 2009. And the big thing with this at the time, I remember, was there was like the world title match and the WWE title match. And it was pretty much like the champions defending against tag teams, essentially. So in the main event for the WWE title, you had John Cena defending against DX, Triple H and Shawn Michaels. And then for the world title, you had The Undertaker defending against Jericho, the Big Show and Chris Jericho, who were the tag team champions at the time. I mean, the concept, I guess, is kind of cool, but not for like a Survivor Series. I do remember, too, though, one thing that does stick out about this one to me is this is the first time where they actually really did try to push Kofi Kingston. Because I
can't even believe they got Team Orton taking a lot of losses.
Yeah, because Orton's team actually would end up losing to Kofi's team.
Look at that team. If I told you today that team was taking on the other team, there's no way you would think they would do. CM Punk, Cody, Randy, Ted DiBiase, and William Regal. That's a formidable team.
Yeah, and them losing to Christian. No disrespect to these guys, but Christian, Kofi Kingston, Mark Henry, MVP and R-Truth.
Yeah, but as far as a powerhouse goes, Mark Henry's the only guy that I could take serious on that dream. Although I will say this about R-Truth, one of the most underrated guys in the history of the business. If you watch his original run before he came to WWE, he was ready to basically be like a John Cena. They could have treated him like a John Cena. He could have came in, cut promos, rapped, and kicked ass.
I mean, the man was a former world champion, former NWA champion, too. I think a lot of people forget about that. But, yeah, R-Truth, Ron Killings, a hell of a wrestler, still going today. It's unfortunate he had that injury, and hopefully he gets healed up soon and gets right back to it, because it was nice to but hopefully he gets back to it and gets back in the ring in no time. There's another interesting one I will say on this once, where you had Team Miz against Team Morrison, but what was interesting about it is you had a young Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, who were pretty much making their Survivor Series debut, teaming up with Jack Swagger, of course Jake Hager, as we know, and Dolph Ziggler and The Miz. And ultimately, The Miz, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre would be the survivors. And interestingly enough, too, a month later, Sheamus is winning his first WWE title because he would beat John Cena in a tables match there at the TLC pay.
I was watching at that point. That was kind of shocking. They pushed him. Triple H loved him.
I have to say, like, this Survivor Series, I do remember checking out just simply for the fact because I was hearing about these guys. I was hearing about Sheamus. I was hearing about Drew McIntyre. And I was like, okay, I'll check this out. And it's just crazy, man, to look at where their careers are and look, especially with last night, too. And I'm so happy to see Sheamus, like, get a resurgence here again and getting, like, he's had an incredible, like, comeback here this year.
I gotta admit, in my opinion, I think he's been doing some of his best work this year. I think he's as better, if not better at, like, the best point of his career might be right now, what we saw with him and Gunther.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I mean, that was an all-time classic. I mean, shoot, that is, like, the first match in WWE in, like, the past, like, since Punk and Cena to get a 5 stars in Meltzer's system, if you actually give a shit about that.
And it actually looked like two wrestlers going
Yeah.
in the ring. You know what I mean? Like, it looked like it was a fight.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a damn good match, man. I love that match.
To me, that stole the show. Like, that was
oh,
the
yeah.
match of the night.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, I mean, I'd have to, like, really think about it, but that may be my favorite match of the year so far in all of wrestling. I mean,
I can't argue with you.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some good ones, but man, that one just sticks out just for just the sheer brutality of it, but the fact that the brutality of it was, like, from the physicality. It wasn't involving any, like, outside weapons or any of that bullshit. It was just two guys just beating the piss out of each other.
As far as entertainment goes this year, for me, the match of the year, and you're probably going to call me a fucking mark for this, but I got to give it to the kid, man. 3 matches and puts on a match like that against Roman Reigns. That Logan Paul match was I was so shocked at how entertaining it was.
That's the thing too, is like how like you going into it, you're like, there's no way, but like somehow there was brief moments in that matchup where you're like, holy shit, Logan Paul is gonna fucking do this. It just mind-boggling. And the fact that you can make that happen against one of the most dominant forces that we've seen in the past 15 to 20 years in wrestling.
I give all the credit to Roman Reigns on that part. He's the one that made that believable. He sold for the kid. He worked for the kid.
Oh, my God. He busted
all in all, the story they told from the beginning to the end, with Jay coming out, you have a lot of different storylines that could potentially come into life through this one match. It was nice to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with you there, man. So, back to Survivor Series. Now, okay, this next one, 2010. There's one other that sticks out to me, but this may be one of the worst. There is nothing memorable on this fucking card. Your main event was Randy Orton against Wade Barrett for the WWE Championship. And the whole thing was, like, John Cena was the referee, and it's like, if John Cena, like, has to do right by the Nexus because now he's part of the Nexus. That whole... God, don't even get me started. That's another fucking episode where you talk about, like, how badly booked the Nexus was, because it was so fucking awesome.
The first time they came out, it was awesome. When they ripped the ring apart and, kicked John Cena's ass. Yeah, but slowly after that, it was all over the place. Lack of leadership or lack of storyline.
Bryan Danielson choking out Justin Roberts. I mean, Then all downhill from there.
To me, they dropped the ball with Wade Barrett. They should have never changed from him being the leader. CM Punk should have never got involved with Nexus.
Nope.
Should have been Wade Barrett, and then eventually maybe he snaps and goes on and has a big single run. We all know Wade Barrett was capable.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, and there's literally nothing else on this show I don't even think even worth talking about. You had Kane and Edge for the world title. It ended in a draw. This was just a poorly put together Survivor Series.
Well, look at the difference in the booking. The year before, Sheamus is winning your WWE Championship shortly after, and now this year he's losing to John Morris.
Yeah. Now the next one would be a very good one. Because it seems like we've been talking about some shitty ones. There's been a ton, but 2011 was a damn good Survivor Series. And of course, the biggest The Rock comes back and wrestles for the first time since WrestleMania 20, I think. Yeah, back, and of course it's in Madison Square Garden. So I got to ask, did you happen to get a chance to go to this show?
No, I did not. I did not even attempt to try to go to this show. I think I was working too much, partying too much. I watched it. I was watching Raw at the time and all that, and again, but definitely couldn't go to the show. Probably because I was wasting all the money on food.
There you go. Fair enough. But you had the main event. You had John Cena and The Rock teaming up, and of course, this is before their WrestleMania showdown, and they're going up against the Awesome Truth, which I think was an underrated tag team. Honestly, The Miz and R-Truth. They had a short little run, but I actually liked Miz and Truth together. I thought there was a pretty good tandem.
It was always a fun time on camera.
Oh, yeah. Now, also, you got a great WWE Championship match here with CM Punk actually defeating Alberto Del Rio to win the title.
To me, that should have been a better match.
Yeah. But my favorite part of this was Howard Finkel introducing CM Punk. I thought that was awesome.
Oh.
That was probably my favorite. Also, surprisingly, not a bad match between the Big Show and Mark Henry in this for the World Heavyweight title. Now, the finish was kind of wonky with it being a DQ, but not a bad matchup between those two. I mean, it could have been better, sure, but it could have been a hell of a lot worse.
That's because that match was good because you're watching two very close friends go in there and they're very comfortable with each other and they have the utmost respect for each other, so they're willing to go the extra mile to other look good. That's why the match all the way up to the finish was good. It was a great match by two big men. Classic big man match.
Yeah. You also had a traditional Survivor Series elimination matchup on this card. You had Team Barrett against Team Orton, ultimately with Wade Barrett being the survivor for his team. This was
in this recurring theme of Cody Rhodes getting all these wins at WrestleMania at Survivor Series and Randy Orton taking
overrated. Yeah, because if you think about when Orton started, man, Orton was like killing it. Like those very first years.
We're looking at all these cards right now. I'm seeing every year after year, he's taking fucking L's to Cody fucking Rhodes.
Yeah.
Before he was the American Nightmare, mind
you. Yeah. I think at this point he is. No, I think he's past the dashing. I think he's like. I think he's already like into like his IC title run at this point.
The good stuff.
Yeah. This was good Cody Rhodes in WWE. So. But yeah, Survivor Series 2011, not a bad one.
Not a good night for Jinder Mahal though, taking the loss to Santino Marella.
Ouch. Yeah, was that was on the pre-show, wasn't it? Or hell, it may have made the
oh god, and how annoying was Dolph Ziggler and Vicky Guerrero that year? My god.
Oh yeah.
I think they drew the most heat out of anybody on the roster.
Yeah.
Anytime they came out. I mean, I was just at Atlantic City a couple of weeks ago. Same night I got to meet Mike Tyson. Vicky Guerrero came out with Nyla Rose, and dude, half the arena was empty, but the half that was there was booing the fucking shit out of Vicky.
Yeah.
All she has to do is say, "Excuse me."
Instant heat. Met her in real life. Super nice person.
Sweetheart.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart of a person.
Genuine.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't say it better. Very genuine. So now we go to 2012, and now we're in our neck of the woods, Mr. B-Roll, for this Survivor Series actually took place in Indianapolis.
Did you go?
No, and I did not want to go because this was a shitty show. Outside of what happened at the end.
How can it be so crappy when it had Ryback on it?
Well, let me tell you, how about this Survivor Series team? Brodus Clay, Justin Gabriel, Rey Mysterio, Sin Cara, and Tyson Kidd. against the Primetime Players, Primo and Epico, and Lord Tensai. There. That's all I got to say to you there. Just randomly thrown together people. Yeah. It's going to be a hard pass for me. Eve Torres against Caitlyn. Cesaro against R-Truth. Not a, on paper those guys are good, but they gave them literally
Survivor Series. I see.
Yeah. Sheamus against the Big Show for the world title. You had Team Ziggler against Team Foley. But the main event, let's talk about that. CM Punk against Ryback against John Cena.
Is this where Ryback hurt CM Punk?
Oh my God, he hurt him so
There
many
was a
times.
big table spot, and he completely missed the fucking table, and CM Punk ended up getting, I think.
I don't know if this may have happened. I thought that may have been at Hell in the Cell the month.
Okay, maybe. I don't. That's what
It was in this time frame. Let's put it that way.
All I know is CM Punk does not like Ryback. Ryback's very stupid.
Yes.
They gave him a chance. He went up to him. He's like, "What's the deal? Are you just stupid, or are you just an asshole? Which one is it? I need to fucking know."
Yeah.
A little bit more.
Yeah, and this is the time when he had like a rocket ship up his ass too, because Vince is probably looking at him like, "Oh my God, he's a physical specimen. Oh, this is really turning me on. I'm gonna push the shit out of this guy. It's such good shit." No, it wasn't. So the big thing about this, Mr. B-Roll, this was the debut of the Shield. Of course, this was the first time we see Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Seth Rollins ever on the main roster. But the thing is, if you go back and look at it, this crowd is like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah.
They don't know.
Saying, come on, we didn't know. We didn't really fucking know who the fuck they were. We didn't know we were looking at the future of professional fucking wrestling.
No idea. No idea. Yeah. So, I mean, outside of that, I mean, this Survivor Series just, I don't know. It's another one that's just, who cares? But, all right, let's
see that main event, though, with CM Punk, because I was a big CM Punk fan. All the way up until when he left, I was a big CM Punk fan. But, yeah, we've seen better. You got to admit, though, Miz probably has the poster of the Survivor Series.
Oh, yeah.
On the poster.
He was on the poster. Yeah. But was he, oh, yeah, that's right. He was on Team Foley.
Shocking that he was even, you have John Cena and CM Punk. This goes back to what I said earlier. We never saw CM Punk on the poster of Survivor Series. Yeah, here he is in the main event of the fucking show, and we don't even give him the fucking poster. To me, I look at that as a shot. I know maybe you guys don't, but to me, that's a shot. That's a shot from corporate or creative saying, "Fuck you. Always make life hard for us. We're not going to give you the shine at Survivor Series, just like we don't give you the main event at WrestleMania."
Yeah. It's it makes no fucking sense why the Miz was on the cover instead of.
And you have main event CM Punk, John Cena, and whatever, Ryback, whatever.
Yeah.
CM Punk's in the main event with John Cena. Why is that not the picture?
Yeah, it makes.
Is that not why people are buying the tickets to come to the show? Is that not why people are calling their cable companies to order the fucking pay-per-view? They weren't ordering it for fucking Miz, I can tell you that.
Nope. Yeah, this was just a bad one. But let's get into it. My opinion, this next one, we've been talking about some bad ones. In my opinion, this Survivor Series is the worst Survivor Series of all time. 2013. What a fucking awful show. Okay, first of all, your main event. WWE Championship match, Randy Orton against The Big Show. Like, and nothing against The Big Show, but it's just like, Big Show wasn't like a super over babyface at the time. It was just like, it's like, who gives a shit? Like, why is he and this is Orton at the height of his, like, the authority. He's the face of the authority, Just fucking terrible. Terrible main event. Nobody gave a shit about. You take your two hottest acts at the time, CM Punk and Daniel Bryan. You put them in a tag match against the Wyatt family. But you don't even get Bray Wyatt in that match. No, but you do get Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, which that's probably the best match on this card, I would say. But
R.I.P. to Luke Harper.
Yeah, great fucking person, wrestler. Yeah, love me some Brody. You have John Cena against Alberto Del Rio for the world title. Mark Henry against... Yeah, because why not? Mark Henry against Ryback. Big E against Curtis Axel for the Intercontinental title. There's a couple Survivor Series elimination matchups, but honestly, I'm done fucking talking about this one because
I'm pretty sure the best match of the night was just watching Nikki and Brie Bella come to the fucking ring. I was a fan of Twin Magic. Sorry, I have to.
Because you can look, but you can't touch.
Right. You want to hear a quick story about Nikki Bella, Brie Bella?
Yeah, anything's better than talking about this fucking
I
shitty
met
pay-per-view.
Nikki and Brie Bella a long time ago at a Comic-Con, before they were super famous, before Total Divas, before the boob job, before everything, okay? So, I'm standing there, I'm talking to Nikki for about half an hour. She's the coolest person in the world, right? Just not cool. Brie Bella, for 30 minutes, is trying to get $20 out of me. Like, for 30 minutes, trying to get $20 out of me. Long story short, I asked Brie to take a picture of me and Nikki for free. She didn't want to, but she did because Nikki told her to take the picture. Bully Ray happened to be in the back of the picture. He comes up to me and he tries to get $20 because he says I took the picture on purpose to get him in the background. And I started laughing at him and I laughed. That's the end of the story.
Nice. I can respect that. Well, Mr. B-Roll, it has come that time, sir. I think it's time we get another Plug-a-Palooza in. What do you think?
Oh, well, let me get a drink in and let's do this thing.
Plug-a-Palooza, brought to you by Cody Rhodes.
Apparently
Apparently a winner of a lot of Survivor Series matches
That
that
is
nobody,
right.
that nobody
Yes.
fucking remembers.
Yeah. Yes.
And
And I love that you have the LJN version of him, too. I did like that version of Cody.
Yes, indeed. So, if you're joining us tonight, we thank you so much for joining us over here on the Twitch channel, the Panda Wrestling Company Twitch channel. We invite you to go ahead and drop that follow button, or if you feel so inclined, go ahead and hit subscribe. And did you know that you can actually subscribe
Sorry.
for
Merry
free?
Christmas.
That's coming in a moment. I didn't
Guys are
realize
getting
that
ready
was
for the
going to...
holidays, man. No problem. Technical.
A
difficulties with the
Merry
holidays.
Christmas and a
I
ho,
jumped
ho,
the
ho
gun.
To you, ho 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 to you, sir. You can actually subscribe for free though through your Prime membership. It's so easy a caveman could do it because I did it. So there you go. Geico, don't come after me. There you go.
Oh,
I'd also like to invite you, now that we have our special guest on, Wrestling with Savage. He has his own Twitch channel, YouTube, just about anywhere and everywhere.
you got anything coming up this week you want to plug or anything?
Oh, absolutely. First of all, you can get all the links to all my shit at WrestlingWithSavage.com. Everything is under Wrestling with Savage. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, Twitter, Discord. We have a great Discord community. But I have something coming up every fucking week. I never miss a show. I bring you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Monday, I cover all things WWE. Tuesday, I cover all things NXT. And this takes place 30 minutes after the show ends. Raw ends 11:30. Me and my crew are online, ready to go to bring you the absolute best late night coverage of professional wrestling in the world. But that's only at night. If you are a late night guy, you might want to tune in and find out about AEW Wednesday night. We do all AEW. I used to do a Friday show, but I can't do it anymore. I just do the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays. I try to pack everything in a nice 3 days, and then it gives me and my crew a beautiful 4-day break. And then Friday nights, I can actually just enjoy SmackDown and not have to worry about talking about SmackDown. And I like to just take in Rampage. And then come Monday, we kick off the show. We try to talk about what happened on SmackDown that was worth a shit. And then we go right into Monday Night Raw and, general wrestling talk. Some weeks, obviously, are better than others. Sometimes the show sucks. Sometimes there's nothing good to talk about. And the nights that there's nothing good to talk about, we mix it up. We might start talking about our favorite match of the year, our greatest tag team, or storylines that we want to book. Sometimes we do ultimate booking, like how you book in WrestleMania. Which, by the way, I want to talk to you right now. Question for both of you: who's winning the Royal Rumble and why?
Ooh, I like
Ooh.
this question. Man,
I have two.
I still, in my heart of hearts, I want to say Cody, but
That's my pick.
man, it's weird. I want to see Cody win the title, but I don't want to see Roman lose it. I'm still enjoying the Tribal Chief this run here. I'm gonna say Cody, but I don't know. This is gonna be a very interesting several weeks of television to build up to the Rumble. I'm gonna say Cody though.
Yeah, so I've been on the Cody train for a long time of, he was going to win the Rumble. Kind of tippy. My needle is starting to point towards what if Sami Zayn won the Rumble?
Now,
Interesting.
that would be interesting.
That would be interesting, and it's highly possible because the only thing I can say about WWE's current product is it's finally at a point where it's becoming unpredictable. Finally, you
And
don't
it's
know
been
who's
a
gonna win
long
matches.
time since
You don't
we've
know
been able
who's
to say
going to
that.
come out. You don't know what storyline is going to go where. Like, did you really see Theory winning last night? I didn't see that coming.
No.
I said maybe there's a small chance because they've been booking him like a badass lately. But I didn't really. I was like, there's no way Seth is going to hold this till Mania. It's things like that that have me excited about not only the Rumble, but just the general 2023 calendar year of professional wrestling. In my opinion, 2023 is going to be the best year that pro wrestling has had in over 2 decades. That's my opinion, and I really believe that. Not just from WWE, but from AEW as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like, I don't know if you agree with this, Savage, or not, but like earlier in the year, it kind of felt like when we first started, it just kind of felt like WWE was just kind of going through the motions, you know? And it was just kind of like AEW could kind of like put out whatever the hell they want, along with every other wrestling company out there. And it was just kind of like, well, WWE's product's shit right now, so, you know, we're the best alternative. But that's not the case now. I mean, now WWE is putting out a good quality product. And like you say, it's really unpredictable. You don't know exactly what's going to happen. You haven't been able to say that for years. So.
Well, the big thing with WWE that has happened in the change, and I'll give you an example that I'm sure we can all relate to. I'm sure we all love an establishment called McDonald's. Yes?
Say that again?
Are we all fans of McDonald's, the restaurant?
Yeah, I get
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Have you ever been to a McDonald's that's badly managed?
Yes.
Badly managed, right? Bad staff, bad training. They can't even take your order. They can't make your order correct. They can't give it to you in an appropriate time. Badly run, badly managed. This is what we were doing last, I don't even know, 3 years, 4 years. Bad management, lack of leadership, lack of caring about the product, lack of caring about story development, character development. They focused on the stars that they had. This is why we saw all these Bon Voyage matches for Undertaker. The guys had, you know, quote unquote retirement match after retirement match after retirement match after retirement match. And I really hope it's finally over. But
yeah.
My point is this: once Triple H comes in, you can clearly see the management has changed, and the establishment is now running at full capacity. Everybody's doing their job, and things are clicking. And now you're getting a better experience.
I also feel like the talent's happy too with what they're doing.
Absolutely. But how wouldn't you be happy though when you're working with someone that you can relate to? That's the problem. You can't. Most of these guys over the last 20 years can't relate to a Vince. We're not talking about the Rocks and the Stone Colds of the world who have Vince on speed dial and call him up and tell him to suck a dick, and they're still going to be on Raw tomorrow. The majority of the roster cannot relate to a Vince McMahon, but they can.
All right. No, I totally agree, man. I totally agree.
Yeah. And honestly, it was exactly what I was thinking as you were saying, like, you know, some nights we have a lot to talk about and then other nights we don't. I'm sure here recently, this year, it probably got a lot easier to talk about, Raw and, NXT.
SmackDown.
Yeah.
NXT.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure it became a lot more easier to talk about. But we definitely have to thank our sponsor, Rootless Coffee, because oh geez, almost knocked MJF over.
I love me some coffee.
It is a
Damn.
fine cup of coffee. It does make a good gift as well. And I forgot to mention this earlier, but you can use code Panda Coffee to save 15% off all non-collabs. And you can even use it on the merchandise. And speaking of merchandise.
Yes.
Speaking of merchandise.
Is it time?
XOJ the OG. Are you ready?
I'm ready. So we mentioned earlier, we got a little special announcement, and it's this. If it'll work again.
Are you on the quest to find the perfect holiday gift and not sure what to get? Are you tired of walking up and down the aisles trying to find that perfect gift for that person that's so special to you? Do you really want to buy that special one in your life, poinsettias? I mean, after all, these things are going to go bad in a mere couple of weeks. Are you tired of looking for that coolest gift and you just can't find it in the right size that you need? And, well, that's not a good idea.
You'll shoot your eye out.
Well, then we have the perfect suggestion for you. Why don't you head on over to SweetDollFaceCreations.BigCartel, where you can get exclusive Cole TV and Learning the Ropes merchandise. Everything from t-shirts to hoodies to hats is all there at SweetDollFaceCreations.BigCartel. And this Christmas season, when you purchase any of these items, use the code FREEORNAMENT and you'll get your exclusive free Learning the Ropes or Cole TV ornament. These ornaments are handcrafted by Sweet Doll Face herself and will look stunning on your Christmas tree. Also, use the code FREEORNAMENT when you order any of your We Are Wrestle Talk merchandise, and you will get a We Are Wrestle Talk ornament as well. And also, don't forget to check out some of your favorite Wrestle Talk content creators' merchandise as well over on Sweet Doll Face Creations. Sweet! As easy as that. So head on over to SweetDollFaceCreations.BigCartel.com and get some of your favorite Cole TV, Learning the Ropes, We Are Wrestle Talk merchandise. And don't forget to enter the code FREEORNAMENT so you can get your free ornament shipped to you with your merch. It's the gift that keeps on giving. And happy holidays from us to you here at Cole TV.
There you
Love it.
go.
And
I love
there
it.
you go.
Very
And I've-
creative, guys.
I've got the link right there. I take you on.
You guys are
right
making
over.
me feel like shit because I have not given my store. I have a little shop on my website too, but I just put some things up there a long time ago. I made a couple of custom shirts for my cast, just for shits and giggles. But I haven't given it any kind of love. The way
Yeah.
you guys just did.
Well, and
You guys just
honestly,
give your merch some fucking love. I like it.
yeah, and honestly, we can't take full credit for it.
Guess you had a
That's-
cameraman.
What's that?
Got a little cameraman action going.
Oh, on the video or just
Yeah.
now? Yeah.
Yeah,
on the-
just
No, that was pretty much me just shooting myself. So
Nice.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
great
hey,
job, man. I liked it.
we
But yeah.
improvised.
And just Sweet Doll Face Creation, she does an awesome job. Honestly, the ornaments were completely her idea.
They were.
Ornaments are awesome. That's a nice.
So
Thank you.
That is that a third party website or is that her website as well?
that is her. She is like small business. Just
So she does all of our merch as well as like a lot of the other Panda Wrestling Company content creators, like Panda himself, along with like Dad Hat, Wrestle Talk Wolfpack, Self
awesome.
Bet, Polly Barrels, like so many. I think she even has a Heel Kevin merch on there too. So yeah,
Yeah.
like a
So-
lot of the popular content creators is on there.
So we said it earlier. I mean, now is the time to buy. You can get a free ornament out of it. You can give it as a gift. You can get it for yourself. Whatever. I
you
mean,
can lay it as a trap for the the robbers when they come through your house. They can step on it and hurt their foot.
Just like Home Alone, man. You could hurt Daniel Stearns if you want.
I mean,
Set up a lot of booby traps all over the house.
There you go.
there you go. Indeed.
But yeah, you get a free ornament. If you just order a hat, a shirt, whatever it is of our stuff, type in that code free ornament and you're going to get a free ornament sent to you. So it's a pretty cool deal. And like we said, also on the We Are Wrestle Talk stuff too, if you guys haven't bought your merch yet for that, put that code in and you're going to get a free We Are Wrestle Talk ornament as well. So
Yes, and that was what I was wanting to go right into until I had a little bit of a brain fart. And so the We Are Wrestle Talk, exactly what that is. It is, just a shirt that we had come up with, and percentage of all of those all the sales of those shirts will be going to mental health awareness and suicide prevention. The organization that we're donating to is the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. So not only are you getting a cool shirt out of it, you're also
and an ornament.
You're also it's for a good
Helping.
cause as well. So there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, so head on over sweetdollfacecreations.bigcartel.com. Check it out. Mr. B-Roll will have the link here the link is here in the comments. So, and then finally, one last thing. Let's talk about Cole TV. What we got coming up all this week on Cole TV. So Tuesday, join us for our Survivor Series reaction show. Wednesday, a brand new episode of The Hunt, our show where we go out and check out different shops and whatnot. And this one's on a pretty cool place called Fix Antiques and Uniques. To give you an idea, this place has like a freaking fire trucks and fighter jet pilot planes outside in the front. They're not for sale, obviously, but just this guy's got some really cool shit. It was like going into a museum, really, and checking stuff out. So you're going to want to check that episode out on Wednesday. And Thursday, catch a replay here of Learning the Ropes. And that's what we got cooking on Cole TV.
And if I ask how you guys got caught up into the whole TikTok wrestle talk?
Yeah, actually, so, excuse me, it started really back for us, Mr. B-Roll really was actually into it, and he kind of told me about it, and I wasn't I didn't really know a whole lot about it. I mean, I did TikTok to kind of promote my YouTube channel and stuff, and then, lo and behold, we just got hooked and started putting wrestling content out, and it was just like, oh, this feels like home. And then really where it took off for us was when we went to Forbidden Door in Chicago. That's where we met Panda and a couple other content creators as well, and just kind of got this, and that's kind of the rest, as they say, is history.
That's awesome. I love TikTok. TikTok's actually how I kind of got into all this to start with. Because in the beginning of the year, I had a lot of friends, and they were telling me for a long time, "Oh, you need to do a wrestling show." For years, I've been hearing this.
Yeah.
You should see on YouTube all these guys talk about wrestling. You know so much about it. Why don't you do a show? Blah blah blah. You got a good voice. All this bullshit. Finally, this year, I'm like, fuck it. I make my TikTok account, and I started doing botch videos, right? Compilation botch videos, and then I would just do commentary on these botch videos, and I would get high as hell at 6 in the morning. I'd have 4 or 5 different videos ready, and then just start doing commentary, and that shit was great, man. And that's what got me into all this stuff, and then meeting guys like you throughout the year. Like I said, that wrestling community, man, is fucking super strong on TikTok.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
Crazy on Twitch, Discord. You can't even believe how many people are in Discord with wrestling shit. And then of course the Busted Open Nation, which now is like a second family.
Yes, I mean, yeah, it's just, yeah, instantly. So, I guess let's pull the curtain back just a little bit real quick, and then we'll dive back into Survivor Series. But, literally, this all came about, I think you followed me on Instagram, maybe a week ago. And I was like, okay. I was like, Savage. I know that name. I know that name.
That's why I'm following people on Busted. If you follow Busted Open, I'm trying to follow you.
And I was like, oh. And then I saw he had his own thing, and I was like, he would be an awesome guest. So there we go.
Here we are.
The rest was history. Definitely appreciate you coming on, and we're only halfway through the show, and I'll say this right now, we definitely have to have you on again.
Absolutely. TikTok's very hard to go viral on, man. When I first started, I took the advice of Gary.
Preach.
You guys know Gary Vee?
Yes.
Yeah.
Super entrepreneur, very smart dude. I took his advice in January. He said, listen, make 4 videos a day, no matter what, and don't stop. And that's what I did from January all the way till about April. And then by April, I got burned out. Because people would think it's easy, right, to make these 1-minute videos 4 times a day. But it takes a lot out of you.
No, it isn't.
Especially if you listen to the way that I talk and the way that I get fired up, and I try to give my all to that 60 seconds so that people can get genuine reactions and all that. But if you do it though, and I give advice to not just you guys, but anybody that's gonna watch the show in the future, if you want to go viral on TikTok, find content that you're passionate about, make 4 videos a day, 30 to 60 seconds each. You do it consistently for a month or 2, you will see traction. And you will start finding people that are going to relate to your content. And that's what you want. You want people who actually are going to enjoy what you're making for them.
Yeah, that's great advice, man. Yeah, I mean, I think, I know Mr. B-Roll, yours really kind of took off when you started doing the This Day in Wrestling History.
Yeah, that's really kind of what, started it all for me. And actually, it's funny, by hook or by crook, I kind of took a hiatus from that this week. It was just
it's
crazy.
a lot, man, to pump out content nonstop. Like I said, I really got burned out, and at this point, I just started my YouTube show, so I transferred over to YouTube. But on TikTok, bro, I can show you the analytics, man. I had about in 1 week, I had 15 million views combined.
Wow.
on TikTok. I cannot say the same for YouTube or anything else, but you can get some new people with TikTok, man.
Yeah,
You
I
gotta
feel
be
like
consistent. You gotta be
yeah,
consistent.
because when you're doing TikTok and you have your own YouTube channel, you're putting out your own podcast, your weekly show, like it's a lot, man.
Here, I'll give you an example if you guys don't mind. You mind if I play like a small little sample of what I do on TikTok?
Yeah, go for it.
Or what I used to do. Yeah, well, it doesn't translate as good as audio, but I have better ones than that. But the point is, when you do something that you're passionate about and you make the content to match it, it's going to translate. Man. I need to get back to making TikToks again 4 times a day.
Yeah.
I've lost all my traction.
It's funny you say that, being like a big member of the Busted Open Nation. When I called in and talked to Dave, that was like the thing we talked about, was like work, like being content creators. He was talking about how he started up Busted Open and wasn't really like making a dime off of it, you know,
Right.
and just like kept with it. And look at it now; it's the #1 show on Sirius, like sports
for
show.
fighting for sports.
Yeah, and that says something, you know.
Well, and not just that, but people have to pay for this show. You know what I mean? It's not like it's something you can just watch for free. So not only did he go ahead and get a community, but he got a community of people that are paying.
Yeah.
Listen to this. You know, it's one thing to get people to listen to a free fucking thing. Then to get them to fucking pay for it, how hard is that?
Yeah. No, man, it's an incredible thing. It's an incredible movement. And like I say, that's the great thing for all of us wrestling fans out there. Is there's so many different areas and way we could connect with other fellow wrestling fans too. It's a pretty awesome time right now.
That's what made me love Busted Open. I listened to it for about 3 months before I made my first call in, but I would listen to a lot of the other callers. And, you know, sometimes there's some great calls. And I said to myself, I need to call these ones. Because I first of all, I have something to say always about anything. You can give me one word, one wrestler, one name, say anything. I'll sit here, I'll talk for fucking 2 hours until your eyes are fucking red and you're like, I can't listen. But that's what happened, man. I fell in love with the fact that they even take calls. So I love now that I have a relationship with a lot of the people on the show, from the producers to actual. I've had Mark Henry tell me I'm his favorite caller of the year. I've had Bully Ray tell me I'm his favorite caller. I've had Dave LaGreca tell me I'm his favorite caller. Tommy Dreamer apparently has a crush on me and loves me, and well, not in a sexual way. I hope not. I would be afraid of Tommy. Hardcore. Like,
he's hardcore. He's hardcore.
Don't be hardcore with me. Like, it's a fun show. They do it in a fun way. 6 days a week. They mix it up. Saturdays you get Mark Henry and Ryan. I love that the fact that Saturday is the day that you can listen in. Like, let's say you missed wrestling all week. Saturday is the day you want to listen, because they're going to break down the whole week of wrestling for you and then even tell you what their favorite show was. So there's a little bit of variety. There's content for the hardcore wrestling fans who could just sit there and listen about anything wrestling all day long. The only thing I would say, and I don't know if you guys, I just wish Tony Time was not as repetitive as it is every week. I wish Tony Time was a little more intimate time. I wish Tony would open up a little more, talk a little more to Dave about maybe some
so
of the
just promoting
politics.
Dynamite. Yeah,
every week it's the same thing. At this point, you might as well send the fucking tape over to Dave and say, hit play. I want to hear more from Tony. And I don't know if you guys agree with this or not, and I'm sorry if I'm going off topic, but do you see the chance of Tony Khan becoming an in-ring character? Maybe like a Vince McMahon. And his goal would be to take MJF to hell, because MJF is ruining his company. MJF is a piece of shit champion. MJF is this, that, the other. I have to do whatever I have to screw MJF out of this title. I like it.
That is interesting. I haven't even thought about that, but now that you've put that out there in my mind, I'm like, that could be very fucking interesting.
I could see Tony Khan doing it because he's such a fucking mark for the business. This guy loves Vince McMahon maybe more than anybody in the world. Why? Because he tried to emulate Vince McMahon. Financially, he's able to. Just like if you were billionaires, you'd start your own motherfucking company. You would have started AEW. Unfortunately, we're not the son of a football guru or a billionaire. So we're here doing podcasts. Tony is. And I could see Tony going to that next level and saying, you know what? What's good for business?
Yeah, because I know he was adamant, like, oh, I'm never going to be an on-screen character or whatever and stuff. But I mean, he has appeared on screen for some.
I've seen him on TV plenty of times. I know
Yeah.
Dave corrected me one time. He's like, "Oh, Tony doesn't like to come on TV that much." I'm like, "Well, really?" Because I've seen him on there quite a few times over the last 4 years.
So
There was one point where he was doing a segment with Tony Schiavone every week. He would come on and talk about 3 or 4 minutes about upcoming matches or pay-per-views or merchandise or whatever.
Well, think about this. You kind of got a hint of that too when AEW was working with Impact. Because remember, he would be on Impact, kind of doing a heelish
cross
character.
promotion. That's right. Yeah.
So
Anyway, I think that's all fun and cool, but at the same time, I don't like it because we're getting main events that have nothing to do with All Elite Wrestling. You're defending the Ring of Honor Championship in the main event of All Elite Wrestling. I'm not a fan of that. I don't mind if you want to defend your titles on TV or on AEW or Dynamite Rampage, but the Ring of Honor Championship should never be defended in the main event of your show.
they need to get their own streaming service, or they need to get the HBO Max. I mean,
Their
I
own
know it's
show,
a lot
whatever it
easier.
is.
Whatever they're going to
100%.
do, they need to. Even if it's like YouTube. I mean, that you could do on your own, you know.
You
but-
just heard talent, man. I'm tired of seeing predominant talent on Rampage not getting represented properly, not getting enough ring time. It's just
To me, the biggest example of it's like the Dark Order. It's like, what the fuck has happened there? And
that
my
should have
God,
been a
look what they-
Dynamite.
Look what they just happened at Rampage. I mean, that was huge. Like,
But
a
that should have
huge-
been on Dynamite. That should have been a major storyline. These are AEW original guys, and you're trying to push this guy to a new stratosphere. You ain't going to do that at 4 p.m. on Rampage.
Nope.
It needs to be on Dynamite, prime time.
Yeah. But that's another story for another time.
Yeah.
So let's
Back to
get back.
Survivor
Let's get back into Survivor Series. Now we're up to 2014. The biggest thing on this one is the main event. Like the rest of the card is You did have a Bray Wyatt and Dean Ambrose matchup, but the main event was Team Cena against the Authority. But the big thing is, you saw for the first time ever in a WWE ring the debut of Sting. Oh, that hurt my throat. Gonna need a minute. But yeah, you saw Sting come out at the end, which to me was kind of like a mind fuck. I was just like, almost like it's just too many years too late. And like, I hated the way they booked Sting in WWE. I thought it was the shits. He should have went over Triple H at WrestleMania, in my opinion. But I'm a big Sting guy, so.
I can see that bothering you. But at least we got to see the third best member of the Shield, Bray Wyatt.
Well, yeah, that's true. But
That's how I'm sorry if you guys are John Moxley fans, but he's the third best member of the Shield.
Well, the thing is, look at who you're talking about. Seth
Yeah.
Rollins, John Moxley, and Roman Reigns. Holy shit. I mean,
Well, don't
You
worry,
talk-
Roman Reigns. If I ever met him in real life, I would tell him, Roman, all you are to me is the second best member of the Shield, and I do not acknowledge you. The Rock is the tribal chief. He makes more money than you in a week than you make in a year.
well, there you have it. So what you're saying is, no, I mean,
Hot take.
we got it on tape, but yeah, no, I mean, it's hard. I mean, they're all were so damn good and still are so good. I mean, you could easily say they're the 3 top performers in the business right now. I mean, they're that damn good. So, but yeah, so this Survivor Series, like I say, you had the Cena against the Team Cena against Team Authority. The one thing I did like about this is and I felt like, oh my God, yes, it's finally going to happen. And they didn't do shit afterwards. But they really put Dolph Ziggler over in this match because he was the sole survivor for Cena's team. And I was thinking, okay, finally he's going to get that main event push he should have had years ago, but didn't happen. But yeah, Sting making his debut at this Survivor Series, that's pretty much about the only real memorable thing about the 2014 version.
I remember Nikki Bella beating AJ Lee in 36 seconds or something like that. That was kind of cool.
Was that on this one? Okay.
2014, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. I just completely
For the
skipped past
Divas.
that.
For the Divas.
Yeah, and I think this too is at the time frame when she's like playing the heel and like Bree's like her assistant or whatever, you know, and yeah. Which I mean, that Nikki Bella was that was probably her best work, I think.
Wow, look at this. At 2015, now we have 9 matches. Unbelievable.
Yes,
That's the most matches I've seen on this Survivor Series card.
So this one, the big thing going into this one, there's 2 things really. You had the, I think it was the 15th anniversary of The Undertaker making his debut, or no, the 25th anniversary.
25th, yeah.
Yeah, the 25th anniversary of The Undertaker making his debut at Survivor Series, and the WWE title tournament. So you have the semifinals and the finals. So in the semis, you have Roman Reigns going over Alberto Del Rio. And then you had Dean Ambrose against Kevin Owens, and Dean Ambrose going over. So your finals, you have your brothers in the Shield, Dean Ambrose and Roman.
Who
And then
would've thunk it?
Roman finally wins the WWE Championship. This was his first WWE title run. But it would be short-lived because Sheamus would come out and cash Money in the Bank and thus would win the WWE Championship. However, his reign would be short, though, because I think he'd lose it back to Roman literally a month later. Also, though, on this one, you did have the Wyatt family against the Brothers of Destruction. I mean, it may not have been a great match,
But on paper.
But on paper, you know, it's like, oh, that's cool. You get to see that.
Was this also the last night we saw the Divas Championship? Because I believe Charlotte beat Paige.
Yes, you're right. Charlotte and Paige did wrestle, and there was like a really good build-up to that matchup as well.
I think this was the end of the Divas title, right? Didn't they present her with a new one? Yeah.
Well, you're close because it was at WrestleMania 20 or WrestleMania 30, the one in Dallas. So it's like the WrestleMania after this. So it's right around that time frame. But yeah, you're getting pretty much towards the end of the Divas title, thank God, and getting the Women's Championship. But yeah, you're right. But yeah, that was a pretty decent matchup on that card. Now, fast forward a year later, 2016. And this is 2016 is when you start off with the repetitive, poorly booked, who gives a shit, Team Raw versus Team SmackDown matches. And it was just like, people was on Team Raw and like a month later they were drafted to SmackDown or something. It's like, who gives a shit? But the main thing on this card that sticks out, the main event, Goldberg against Brock Lesnar.
It didn't last very long.
No, and nobody saw that coming. I don't think. I mean, I did it. I mean, I knew it wouldn't be a long match, but I did not think...
Not a WCW Nitro match.
No, and that Lesnar would put him over?
This was like a match out of Nitro during his undefeated run.
Yeah, it just blew my mind that, like, here you have Brock Lesnar who had ended the Undertaker streak, right? Brock Lesnar who had literally beaten the shit out of John Cena for like 15 minutes to win the WWE title at SummerSlam years ago. And now here he is going into the Survivor Series. He's just dominated everybody he's been against, going up against this Goldberg, essentially. And Goldberg going over him is like, holy shit. Like, it just shocked the hell out of you. And I think on this pay-per-view, too, they still had like a ton of time left on the show. It wasn't like there was like 10 minutes left on the show and you knew the match was going to be short. I mean, you thought, okay, this is going to be like a good like 10 minutes or something, 15 maybe at the most, but nope. It was crazy, man. But that's the biggest thing to take away from this Survivor Series was that main event. Now you go a year later to the 2017, and once again, we're getting the Raw versus SmackDown shit. But there is a couple cool matches in between. One of the Raw versus SmackDown matches, actually the opener, was really cool. You got to see the Shield, which I think they were representing Raw, going up against the New Day. So, I mean, that was kind of a dream matchup you got to see. Yeah, there you go. Get your pancakes. Get your booty-os. But that matchup was, it was a decent six-man or trios match, whatever you want to call it. Also, you did get to see Brock Lesnar against AJ Styles. And if you remember correctly, back at this time frame, like Jinder Mahal was the WWE champion going into this, but then they put the strap on AJ because they knew Jinder against Lesnar would not draw. So that was a pretty good matchup, though, seeing AJ go one-on-one with Brock Lesnar.
That was a smart move to put the title on Jinder, though. It created a bunch of new fans across the world.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, he had a hell of a run that year.
Talking about it yesterday. They're going to be doing a super show. And they're going to try to break the record for attendance, I believe, in the world.
There you go. And then in the main event of this show, you had Team Raw against Team SmackDown. But Team Raw was a very. This is an interesting lineup: Kurt Angle, Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, and Triple H. I was like, oh, okay. And then you go against SmackDown, which was led by Shane McMahon, Randy Orton, your favorite Mr. B-Roll, one Bobby Roode, Shinsuke Nakamura, and John Cena.
Bobby
What
Roode, the most deserving guy of a run in the company right now.
Please push him. The man.
Triple H said, maybe, possibly.
Papa H.
Well, hey, with some of the stuff that we have said on this show, not just this show, but like, other shows, on the network as well, they're listening. They're listening out there. They
I
are.
came home to my wedding with Glorious. I did the whole Bobby Roode thing.
Did you really?
Glorious.
Nice.
I have it on tape, yeah. My wife didn't know what the fuck was going on, but it was glorious.
Yeah, she just knew it was glorious. That's
Yes.
awesome, man.
Just please, please
How awesome
bring
is that
him
song?
back.
That theme song?
Please bring him
my
back.
God.
Have that gimmick.
He's on his
and
way back.
everything,
Good news. He is on his way back.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And the good news is we're in the Triple H era. Triple H and Bobby Roode are actually
And Triple H loves him.
Right.
Yeah.
Patient,
So
patient.
that's right. So we fast forward a year later, 2018, and once again, same concept: Raw versus SmackDown.
Seth Rollins,
big-
Shinsuke.
And this, what's that?
Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke.
Shinsuke, yeah.
Stole the
That was
show
a
that
good one for the IC and the US, or well, it was champion versus champion. Yeah, that was a good matchup. There's a couple good ones on here. But I think the biggest thing everybody remembers out of this is the build up to it because it's supposed to be Charlotte against, or I'm sorry, it's supposed to be Becky against Ronda. And this is that time frame where Wanda got her nose broken and became that badass character and that badass person that we all know and love. So they ended up replacing her with Charlotte. So you got Charlotte against Ronda, which was a pretty good matchup, actually. Very physical, as one could be expected.
Good looking to the future.
Yeah. And then also the main event was really good. Brock Lesnar against Daniel Bryan, champion versus champion. And I like the psychology of this matchup. Go back and watch this matchup because the way Daniel Bryan plays it off and he's working as the small man and kind of working around Lesnar and trying to antagonize him and stuff. It's actually a really good matchup. So, and then Daniel gets his ass kicked for most of the matchup, and then he does a little rope a dope with him and stuff. It's a really good matchup. But other than that, once again, just the Raw versus SmackDown stuff. For me, it just really.
I'm over that shit.
Yeah, I'm so glad we're not doing that anymore because it just got repetitive at this point.
They need to go back to one company, two shows. One company, two shows. It's all WWE. Raw's a show, SmackDown's a show.
Now hold on. The student has a question.
Yeah.
So I'm googling the matches that were on the card and looking at the card. Is that Ruby Soho with long hair?
Yeah, she used to have long hair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she used to have long hair. So.
Buddy Murphy versus Mustafa Ali was also a banger.
Oh, that's true for the cruiserweight. Yeah.
Buddy Murphy can go. He's one of the best in the world.
Yeah, Buddy Murphy's awesome, man. I'm hoping you get to see more House of Black here now that
Oh,
they're
yeah.
coming back.
Oh, yeah.
But
We are.
yeah,
Tony
and I
Khan,
think
if you're listening, please.
I can see them being trios champions. I can see them be the team that's going to take down either the Elite or Death Triangle next.
Yep.
And then we'll see what happens down the road.
Now we go a year later, 2019. I will say this got interesting because this time it's still Raw versus SmackDown, but now they add NXT into the fold. So here you have Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT. And it's a pretty cool moments, pretty cool matches. I think the Team SmackDown, the men's match against Raw against NXT was really fun. Especially seeing the interactions with Keith Lee and Roman Reigns there. That was really cool.
This was unprecedented. We never even
Yeah.
saw anything
Yeah.
like this before.
No.
See enhancement talent from NXT come up and then putting the main roster talent on their ass. Keith Lee showed up tonight. To me, this is where Keith Lee is mark on business and why he has such a following today.
Yeah.
That's
Dude is a freaking beast.
That's a very fair assessment. I totally agree. The ladies' match was pretty strong too. Strong showing for Rhea Ripley in that match, because this is when they're first really kind of oh, okay, she is the future of the women's division. And my God, look at mommy now. Holy shit. People talk about, I'm going to get off topic for a brief moment here. People are talking about like, oh, I want to see Charlotte against Bianca at WrestleMania. And that's great. No, give me Rhea against Bianca. That's what I want to see. I mean,
I'm good with any of those combinations.
Yeah.
Rhea Bianca, Rhea Ronda, Shayna Ronda, Shayna Ripley.
Yeah.
Any one of those.
Yeah. You really can't go wrong.
Let's not forget the Fiend Bray Wyatt also defeated Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan on this one, yeah, for the
Were
Universal
you guys fans
title.
of the Fiend? I thought he was booked a little poorly, like the way they exited.
He
him.
was booked poorly, but the character with the whole
Yeah, yeah.
persona and stuff was cool as hell. I
was a big fan of all things Firefly Funhouse. The first.
Yes. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Tell you what, there's another good hidden gem on this one. I think Roderick Strong against AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura. And the crazy thing is, Roderick Strong would win the match. Like that was the one. Like I couldn't believe they put him over, but I was happy they did it.
Hell of a guy.
But
Also,
And Adam Cole beat Pete Dunne too. That was
thank
another-
you. Yeah, that was another good one. This was a good Survivor Series.
A lot of people that I've been talking to this year, they've all told me this was their favorite Survivor Series so far.
Yeah, it's definitely.
It's more of a lot of the newer fans that are
Yeah.
telling me. Like if you're an old school fan, you're probably gonna say, Undertaker's debut was the best.
Yeah. But no, this was a good Survivor Series. I thoroughly
But-
enjoyed this one.
And Roderick Strong, that's another name of like, where's he at now? Like,
Diamond Mine. Not even. He's hurt.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, and also I think he's really still kind of hurt stuff. So
I think he wants his exit.
I
think
do
he
too.
wants a ticket to AEW ASAP.
I totally agree with that. All right, now let's talk about the first Survivor Series in the pandemic era. Fuck, Survivor Series 2020. Once again, just the same concept. We went back to Raw versus SmackDown, champions versus champions, a men's Raw SmackDown match, a women's Raw SmackDown match. Main event was Roman Reigns against Drew McIntyre. Not bad, but I mean, once again, it's the Thunderdome, and it's just, I don't know, for me, I could never get into anything in the Thunderdome era. I don't know, it just wasn't the same.
The best match on this card was Sasha Banks versus Asuka, I think.
Yeah, and I think even that was kind of like wasn't, I don't know, wasn't given enough time. But I mean, I don't know, it is what it is.
You
I
can't
don't.
blame the wrestlers. You know how hard it is.
Oh yeah,
An empty
in
arena
front of nobody,
no
even-
reaction.
Yeah.
Because most of the storytelling happens with crowd reaction, interaction, and being able to feel what's going on in the arena.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of people actually have problems fighting at WrestleMania. They're not in arenas. They're in stadiums.
Yeah, because they can't.
And
really,
it's really
yeah.
hard to fucking hear what's going on. But when you see these guys work in the arenas, you can tell that they are taking everything into
Yeah.
the match.
And
How do
then Survivor Series last year, 2021. Once again, same shit. Raw versus SmackDown. You did get Roman Reigns against Big E in the main event, with Roman going over. But, I don't know. Once again, to me, another forgettable Raw versus SmackDown bullshit. But now let's talk about last night's Survivor Series, the newest rendition. Overall thoughts, what do you guys think?
it was a pretty good show. So like I was telling you, I had to watch it a little bit later. So I actually watched about like half of it last night because I started late and then watched the other half today. I'll be honest, so where I started today was the Ronda Shotzi match, and I skipped through most of it.
Not a good place to
because-
start.
Did you get to the main event, though? Did you get? Have you
I
seen
did.
more?
I
Okay,
did.
okay.
Yeah. So I skipped after watching for it a little bit. I was like, yeah, and I skipped to I think the 3-way was next, and then the men's War Games match.
Yeah,
I'll say this: the AJ Finn match is probably one of the best singles matches I've seen in a long time.
it was really good. I was glad that Judgment Day and the OC kind of got out of it early on, and it just stayed really a one-on-one match for the most part.
I was actually shocked with the results of that match. I was thinking after we saw Finn Balor double.
Yeah.
Which I'm not a fan of because I believe there's only one devil in professional wrestling right now, and his name is Maxwell Jacob Friedman. But nonetheless, he called himself the devil, and it's hard for the devil to lose. I did not see Finn Balor losing this match, especially with how hot Judgment Day's been lately.
I feel
I was
like
shocked.
I feel like
legitimately
AJ
shocked.
had to win it though, because I feel like AJ just hasn't done shit this
I
year.
agree.
Really,
I 100% agree with that, and they definitely had a banger of a match. It could have been a perfect match. I think Finn messed up on one spot, but quickly made up for it. Other than that, yeah, as close to a perfect match as we can get to.
yeah. And I think both of the you take the Shotzi and Ronda match out of this card, and like all the matches were great.
Yeah, I had fun
was-
even with the women's War Games match. That ending was money. Becky Lynch came in, did what she did. That finish at the end is an iconic finish. It's going to be one to talk about for her career for a long fucking time. I'm sure it's probably going to be one of her favorite moments.
highlight for sure.
I mean, she was talking about it on the media conference after, saying that she was terrified during practice. But then, of course, when she's there live, the fans give her that adrenaline and that energy, and she's able to deliver the goods. And she delivered the goods. It looked like it was a kick leg drop that really fucked up damage control. Ended the night.
Yeah. I thought that was the opener was great. They started off hot, and then going right into Finn and AJ was awesome. Bathroom break match, let's call it, was the match with Shotzi and Ronda.
Absolutely.
Picks up again with the triple threat was awesome. But let's talk about the main event. To me, that was match of the night. Best storytelling by far. All the stuff with Sami saying, "Oh my god," and just I loved how they started the match with Jay against Pete Dunne. Sorry, I'm not going to call him Brutus or Butch or whatever the fuck they're calling him. And then how it's the time for somebody from the Bloodline to come out to save the day. You know, Jimmy's going to go, and Roman's just like, no. He points to Sami. He's like, "You go." Oh, that was so badass. I love that.
The whole match was
that Roman was sitting on a fucking chair like the whole time he was in the shark cage or whatever. I was like, yes.
Now, the only part of the match I didn't appreciate is when they did the 5-man, slam the chest, all 5 men. I was like, all right, that was a little unneeded, but fuck it, I'll take it. But yeah, overall,
I was okay with it because as the crowd was into it, it was like
storytelling wise, it was so much fun because you're going into the match without any idea of what's really going to happen. Is Sami going to turn? Is he not going to turn? Is Kevin going to turn? Is this guy? So there was so many different factors involved that it made the match that much more interesting. I'm sorry, I can't even say it. Forget it. But it made the match incredible.
Yeah.
It did. I had a great time with it. I'm sure everybody watching at home was very happy that we're going to see Sami Zayn continue to be a little loose.
Oh, yeah. And I love the finish of that, too. I mean, you talk about time in and time again, you talk about getting over and going over. Like, that really, to me, put over Kevin Owens. Not that he wasn't already over, but, I mean, that, to me, made him even all the more legitimate. Like, yeah. I feel like during Roman's, like, destroying people, I do feel like Kevin Owens has been the one guy where it's like, yeah, he could beat him. And I think last night, too, he had it won. And then, of course, Sami comes in, interferes. And then, you get the ball shot to KO. And then, of course, the finish where he lets Jay do the splash and get the win. I love it.
Kevin Owens is one of those guys that's on a small list of groups. He's like on a small, very, very small list of men who can come in at any time and have a significant run, take the title, and you would believe it. You know what I mean? There's not a big list of guys like that.
Nope.
Happens to be one of them. But I have to disagree with you on one thing. The match of the night, for me at least, was definitely Theory, Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley. I thought Theory stole the show with his performance because he's in there with, in my opinion, the best wrestler in the world right now, Seth Rollins, and Bobby Lashley, who honestly looks more impressive today than he did 20 fucking years ago, which is even insane to even think about. And he steals the show and the title clean.
Yeah. I love the spot, too, where Bobby Lashley was like pretty much had them both in the Hurt Lock at the same time. I love that spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a hell of a triple threat. Like, it's hard to argue, but I mean, they were both great matches.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I appreciated watching Theory hold gold. Now he's 2-time United States champion.
Yeah.
After talking all that shit, has something to show for it.
And the big surprise there for me is like, I thought, 4 weeks ago, whenever he cashed in that Money in the Bank, he was dead in the water.
Exactly. That's what makes
I even told B-Roll that. I was like, he's fucked. Like he's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. And look at him now.
Yeah, that's what makes it so significant because, like you said, everybody thought he was buried last week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Now all of a sudden, my man's walking on Raw tomorrow night with fucking gold victory over Seth freaking Rollins.
A-Town down, baby.
Theory's the future, my friend. He's a young Randy Orton to me. When
Yeah,
I look
he
at
is.
him,
Yeah,
I
I
see a
mean-
young Randy Orton.
Yeah, I'm a big Austin Theory fan.
Awesome, dude. They need to make him the new legend killer. I would love to see a whole
That'd be
thing
pretty
like
cool.
that, where he's now the guy that goes around disrespecting and killing all the fucking legends.
That would be
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Um,
I will say this, like as great as fun as the paper, I do got one pet peeve about War Games. I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. Ever since WWE has introduced War Games, you can about count for the same fucking spot midway through the match to where the heel or the babyface is coming out and they fucking go under the ring and get a shitload of weapons and bring it in. I wish, this is what I would do with it. Just put the fucking weapons and have them already in the ring, because we know it's a foregone conclusion there's going to be weapons involved. To me, it just takes a little bit of the element out of War Games for me. I kind of wish they would treat it like back in the day, like TNA did the Lethal Lockdown, where they just had the weapons in the cage. Let's just do that with War Games going forward, because you're obviously going to have weapons in it no matter what.
They should just hang a bunch of weapons off the top of the cage, and you want one, you climb up and you grab it.
There you go. I
Create a
wish
whole
I
bunch
wish
of
they would
spots with
just
that.
Yeah, I wish they would just do it that way, other than this shit, because you just know it's going to happen, and it's happened. If you look back on the NXT War Games and this one last night, that spot happens all the time. Midway through the damn match, they go under the ring
Well-
and get a shit ton of weapons.
and it's because it's like, well, why don't like the first one or two just go ahead and grab them if they were going to grab the weapons? You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah, it's a foregone conclusion there's going to be weapons involved in the match, and that's fine and all. But like I say, let's just go ahead and just say just put them in there. Just go ahead and have them in
In
there.
general, I'm never a big fan of these big 5-on-5 matches, at least not the traditional ones where people tag in and out. And the reason why I say that is this. When you have these 5-on-5 matches, a fan like me who used to wrestle, I can see it. When all the wrestlers are just waiting at the ringside, they've been thrown out of the ring, and they're just sitting there waiting for the right
Wait,
time.
you get their
so they can
spot
come
in. Yep.
And I don't like seeing that. When I see that on TV, it just brings that word up: fake, rehearsed, choreographed. I'd rather see it be all fluid motion, nonstop fighting, nonstop action. One guy working with one guy, and they all go at it. And have a couple of big spots that you've already prepared for, but stop making it look so goddamn obvious. That's why when you have the traditional tag match, tag in, tag out, it doesn't look as bad because it's just two guys working in the ring, and things happen, whatever. But the one thing I'll say is that wrestling's been happening for how many years now? It's hard to come up with original content. It's hard to be original. It's hard to be creative because what hasn't been done? People could sit here and tell you, "Oh, did you see that move he did last night?" I'll go back. I'll find that fucking move from 1970. You just don't know it.
Yeah.
It's all been
Yeah,
done
it's-
before.
It's all
Yeah.
been in different. You can put different spins on it, different variations. We've
Yeah.
still
It's all
Let's
been
see.
fucking done. So it's about how you do it, how you deliver it, and then the build up.
where
It's
you,
all
where you,
emotion.
where you put it in, where you put your spots in too.
Mhm.
That's just as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
I will say this overall, it was great just to see War Games matches with the main roster.
Yeah, and the fact that we didn't get any of the Raw versus SmackDown shit. Like, I don't know which I was probably more excited for War Games, honestly, because I've loved the War Games matches for years. But I'm just so glad. And please, Papa H, let's never go back to Raw versus SmackDown. I'm done with that shit. It was so repetitive for so many years.
And we need to get rid of the draft as well. Fuck the draft. Fuck Raw
Yeah,
versus
fuck the
SmackDown.
draft. Fuck just having the different, just have everybody work
You
like
have
on
one
Raw's-
fucking roster. That's it. The only thing that's different is NXT. That's because that's your developmental brand. That's it.
Yeah. There you go.
Maybe one day. I had another thought, but it eluded me. It's something about fucking Solo Sikoa. That's what it is. I think people are underestimating how significant what he's done this year is. I mean, Braun Breaker's your NXT champion. Guess what? Solo Sikoa just slingshotted past the whole process. He didn't have to win gold. He didn't have to beat Braun Breaker. My man's on the main roster next to the Tribal Chief, looking better than Sammy and Jay and Jimmy Uso combined.
Yeah,
as far as
I
wrestling.
was. I was really.
I liked
impressed.
last night too. If you guys noticed this right before the start of the main event, how Solo was just staring in the cage of like the Brawling Brutes. He was just staring him down.
That was old school wrestling. That's like watching the Killer Samoans, the way they would come to the ring and stare down the opponent. Solo Sikoa has that presence, has that old school feel. Not wearing shoes, comes out raw feet. This guy is money. I love Solo Sikoa. I think
Yep.
he has
He's coming, and he's coming to
a
her.
big fucking future. That's not.
Yeah.
I think Solo has a better run.
You never know. I mean, he's
Are you seeing his
definitely-
super rock bottom? The one he does on NXT?
Yeah, and he didn't he do it last night through a table to
I think so.
Drew?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah. I like Solo. I love the bloodline, what's going on with it. Like, and I'm intrigued to see where they go from here and how they get to Mania and how we're gonna get to Rock against Roman. Or are we getting Rock versus Roman? Who knows?
If I'm booking
That's-
it, I like Cody and Rock both be in the Rumble, and they eliminate each other at the same time. And we set up a triple threat at WrestleMania between The Rock, Cody, and Roman. That's what I would love.
Or no. Jack Tunney comes out and he says, I'm gonna flip a coin. Oh wait a minute, Jack Tunney's dead. Never mind. But yeah.
I could just see some serious promos being made, especially with The Rock just coming back and then Cody being in the ring and be like, who the hell do you think you are? You just leave for 5 years, come back 5 years, and whenever you come back, you just challenge for the title. Meanwhile, I'm having the most significant return in the history of my life right now, and you're going to come try to take my shine? I'm Cody Rhodes. I'm the son of the plumber, and I am here to become the world heavyweight champion. I don't give a fuck about your movies or your Hollywood. I'm here to wrestle, and I could see it. I know a lot of people get a post about that match on a little Photoshop, and people were like, "No, I don't. That's trash." Or a lot of people aren't. They just want to see Roman Rock. To me, I'm not a fan of that because I already know the answer to the question. The Rock is the tribal chief. There's no questions asked.
The dude is the highest paid actor in Hollywood. He's the guy is the most probably in pop
Forget
culture
all that.
right
Think
now.
about all the businesses and companies he has, investments. stocks.
Terramana. The man owns a
Billionaire.
fucking football league, for God's sake.
Billionaire status almost. He's almost
Yeah.
a fucking billionaire.
You want to talk about God mode? Fucking The Rock is in God mode. But
Dude, The Rock makes more money for a fucking appearance than Roman Reigns makes for a WrestleMania. That's all I'm gonna say. I'll leave it at that. If that doesn't answer the question,
I don't know what
to
will.
tell you.
Yeah. That is a mic drop if I ever heard one. Well, Mr. B-Roll, we have come to the end here, and as we always like to do, let's get one more Lugapalooza in to close out the night, shall we? And I'll
Yes.
start it off, if you don't
Go ahead.
mind. Let's talk about Cole TV. What we got cooking this week on Cole TV? Well, Tuesday, you can catch our Survivor Series reaction show. Wednesday, brand new episode of The Hunt. And on Thursday, a replay of Learning the Ropes here. And that's what we got going on Cole TV.
All right, and we thank you all so much for joining us tonight over here on the Panda Wrestling Company Twitch channel. We invite you to go ahead and drop that follow, or go ahead and subscribe, and you can subscribe for free through your Amazon Prime membership, because who in the world doesn't have Prime nowadays? It's pretty easy. Literally, all you have to do is Google it. It's pretty easy to figure out, and you can subscribe for free. We also have to thank our sponsor, Rootless Coffee. Guaranteed to put the mo back in your Joe, because you know indeed it is a
Damn!
fine cup of coffee. We also want to let you know that you can save 50% off all non-collabs
There's
by
Cody.
using the code PANDA Coffee, and Cody Rhodes approves.
Cody likes Panda Coffee.
So there you go. And then we also want to let you know we do have some Learning the Ropes merch. We have some Cole TV merch. We have some We Are Wrestle Talk. And hey, now's the time, because if you use code FREE ORNAMENT, and when you buy one of our shirts, you'll get a free ornament as well, all over at Sweet Doll Face Creations. Link is in pretty much both our bios. She has tons of other content creators over there as well. Make sure you go ahead and go pick up some of the merch. We also have to thank our very special guest, Wrestling with Savage, the Savage himself. You can go find him on basically pretty much every, like I said earlier, every social media at Wrestling with Savage. Savage, you kind of gave us a little bit earlier. Is there anything else you want to promote as we close out the show?
I will be going to a couple of shows coming up in December. I'll be going to the toy drive that Creative Pro is doing in Lynbrook, New York. You can get into the show for free, bring in 2 brand new sealed toys of your choice. They do it every year. This is run by Matt Cardona and Brian Myers. They run the wrestling school in Long Island, New York. MJF is a recent graduate, Max Caster. You may have heard of these guys, current AEW champions of the fucking world. Make sure you head on over to Creative Pro and check out everything they're doing. You can meet me there. We can scissor there. We can do some signs. You can meet all the wrestlers. And I will also be going to the W Arena December 17th to watch Matt Cardona take on Bully Ray in what will be a fucking glorious match. So if you're in the area of Philadelphia, come on over and meet Savage. You can have a good time, watch some wrestling, talk some shit. But other than that, make sure you catch me Monday, Tuesdays, Wednesdays on YouTube, preferably Wrestling with Savage. And make sure you go over to this guy's website with the creations, Little Cove Creations.
Sweet Dollface Creations.
Sweet Dollface Creations. And make sure
BigCartel.com.
you pick up their merch because they're giving you a goddamn Christmas ornament with a t-shirt. All right? And what better than to go with that than a cup of coffee? They got the coffee for you. They got the Christmas ornament. You get a sweatshirt. Sit in front of the fireplace and watch yourself some Panda Wrestling Company Network. They got a bunch of great shows all over. Big community. Again, thank you guys for having me on. Maybe one day we'll have to bring you on Wrestling with Savage and talk some shit.
We'd love to come on and talk some shit.
We would definitely love that indeed. I've always been under the stance. I may have not been a fan for a very long time, but I fell in love with professional wrestling very, very quickly. And honestly, the way I see it, the more people we have talking about professional wrestling, the better.
Fuck yeah, dude.
It's a good year for pro wrestling, and it's only going to get better. We got a resurgence. I like to call it the modern golden age of professional wrestling.
That's a good way to term it. I love that.
A lot of people say that the 80s was the golden age. To me, if you're a long life wrestling fan, you have to be excited about what we're seeing on TV week in and week out, and all the changes that are being made to the companies, all the shine that a lot of people weren't getting 2 years ago, they're getting now. And women's wrestling, how far it's come. I mean, you don't believe me.
God.
Just go watch 1995, 1999, Attitude Era, women's wrestling, panties, bra and panties match, mudslide match, just very sexist, over-the-top bullshit that didn't really showcase any of the women's talent other than their asset. So it's a good time for pro wrestling. And
there you go. Hey, one more quick plug. I forgot to mention this. Next week, we're actually going to be over on the Wrecking Crews podcast Saturday night. We're going to be joining up with those boys as we look at ECW One Night Stand. So can't wait to join up with Dad Hat and Husky and talk about ECW's One Night Stand. It's going to be a fun show. So you have to check it out Saturday. Next Saturday. And don't forget tomorrow, Russell Endures Raw live.
With
friends. 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. So check all that out here on the Panda Wrestling Company Twitch channel. And thank you again, Savage, for coming on, brother. Man. We appreciate having you, man. Can't wait to have you back again, my friend.
Sure, absolutely. We'll set it up, or we'll set up a panel. We'll do something. Maybe we got to talk about the greatest of all time on Rushmore of wrestling. That's the good thing about wrestling. There's always something to discuss. And make sure, after you watch them tomorrow night at 11 o'clock, I go live at 11:30, Monday Night Raw, Wrestling with Savage. And if you don't catch me, guess what? Just look for the Busted Open.
There you go.
I hope you guys start calling.
Yeah, we're going to get on there more and more.
Yeah, get in there, man. Get those phone calls in there, man. Talk to the nation. Shout out to Dave LaGreca. Feel better.
That's right. And on that note, that's going to wrap it up for us, folks. We thank you for joining us here tonight on Learning the Ropes. We thank our guest, Savage. I'm XLJ, the OG, along with Mr. B-Roll. We'll see you next time on another episode of Learning the Ropes.